the last 2 weeks, so we'll do a little update. We'll do a little update ski. Update ski. Rats in the
sounds like, but
what it sounds like.
Yeah, hopefully it's mixing well. I'm gonna go. Muse,
give us
ring light. Give us a signal if it's going well. If the audio's good.
SVP. Oh no, hate that. Oh, we don't have the ring light on. I understand. We should do this before we start.
Yeah,
That's good.
why.
You want it face away.
No, what?
Just turn it on.
I don't know how it is.
Let me.
This is exactly how it was.
I plugged it in already.
Yeah, the little switches here. There we go. All right. Sound and echoes.
Sound and echoes?
Is the echo really bad? Like, is it just ambient because it's an echoey room, or is it?
The echo might. Because the early bird's some added entertainment.
Not great.
Not great, okay.
Hey, Wilhu. Not ambient. It's double sound. Okay,
yep.
So we need to turn.
So I'm just muting that one, and you'll just have this one then. So,
just
or
this
do you
one.
want just this one?
No,
it's your
this
choice.
one's just for set dressing, so
okay.
It looks cute.
I'll get out of here.
All right, cool.
Amazing.
I assume the echo is mostly the two mics.
Yeah.
So we turned off one mic, so let us know if it's still not great.
Mm-hmm.
Update us. SVP. Goodbye, tech support. It's good. All right. Thanks,
Wonderful.
Wilhu. It's a creaky door. Hey, hi, hello, hi. What's up, y'all? Welcome back for Vulgar Science 2 Electric Boogaloo and a better camera than we had before.
Yeah, it's got this fisheye sort of vibe going on right now.
But last time we had to be like this close to each other, and as much as I love you, I just don't need that for 3 straight hours because my back is the same age as the rest of my body, so...
How old?
We're not discussing
the world may
it.
never know.
We're not going on record with how old Alicia is at this current time. So yeah, it's good indeed. All right, cool. Old and bold.
Old and bold.
Right. Doug, how was your stream the other day? You streamed yesterday for like forever, didn't you? Or maybe it was the day before. Anyways, hi. Layla's been gone for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Tell us about your 2 weeks. Tell us about your life.
So, well, part of the reason is because we both had our parents visiting. So, you know, we gotta make time for the fams, you know, let them visit Montreal for the first time in 5 years, all these things, and come say hi. I actually am in the throes of my thesis proposal, so I've been crunching that out and grinding that out, trying to get that done.
That's what you're meeting Jeff today about, right?
Yes, and then I had my supervisor just completely crush my soul today by telling me that it wasn't good enough and that I needed to put like 2 or 3 more whole pages in there and like review a butt ton of literature. So a butt ton. Yeah.
We say choke me daddy biscuits, but we don't say ass ton or like no one says ass ton.
A fuck ton.
A fuck ton. That's
fuck
what.
ton.
Yeah, we use that word here. I mean, 2 or 3 pages isn't that bad. 2 or 3 pages is, I mean, double spaced.
I have to add 2 whole sections of literature review, therefore.
The reading is going to be the worst part of that,
I feel
I
like
think.
2 or 3 pages minimum.
Cute.
Unfortunately. But yeah, what have you been up to, Leisha?
I had my mom here. These guys all know about it. Well, not everybody knows about it, but people that were on my last stream know about it. And I went to like the spa baths with my mom, which was nice. And then we had a fucking blizzard, and then we had another blizzard, and then it got nice, and then we had another blizzard. So it's just been really a nice weather time here.
Yeah.
But you went to Cabana Souk, which no one else will know what that is outside of Quebec, or maybe they will. But it's called Cabana Souk, Cabin of Sugar is what that stands for, or Sugar Cabin. Sugar Shack is what it's called in English. And basically it's where you go and like you dump...
maple syrup over all of your food.
Yeah, well, and then you get it on snow and you roll it up in a little stick. Like that's like the thing.
Snow taffy, is definitely the move.
Taffy.
Snow taffy.
I like that. Anyways, you brought your parents. How was the like pork situation? How did that go?
Oh, it was very interesting. So for those of you who don't know me in real life, I was raised Muslim. So my father and my stepmother don't eat pork, and my stepmother is gluten-free, so bringing them to a sugar shack, which is pretty much just bread and ham and maple syrup.
Yeah, even the soup has ham in it, right?
Yes, exactly. Pea soup, the beans, like everything has pork fat or something in there, so it was very complex. I had to find one of the only sugar shacks in the outer Montreal region that does kosher breakfast,
which is crazy because there's a huge Jewish population. Like the Jewish diaspora here is enormous, so there should be, but maybe they just don't like sugar shacks. Muse, thanks for reaffirming that moving south was a great idea. I mean, honestly, don't you miss maple syrup though?
I don't know where your south is for you, Muse Clues,
I think
but
he's in Florida, I think, or they're in Florida.
I was gonna say the pork, especially like in the Miami area, Cuban food is all pork too. So I don't know. I was gonna say. Southern barbecue is a thing. That's a thing.
That's true. Then again, Florida, yikes. I mean, Florida's nice for reasons sometimes.
Florida man.
Florida, depending on where you are in Florida, I suppose. But I guess Florida's like the butt end of a lot of American jokes.
Honestly, I was going to say Quebec is like the Florida of Canada. That's my personal opinion. And Montreal is the Miami. But...
I still have a regular supply of real maple syrup. I like that you have like a maple syrup plug. Like, I got a dealer.
I get it imported secretly.
Take me to Louisiana, give me all that Cajun food. Honestly, yes, I would love to do that, but I'm also scared of getting shellfish cross-contaminated and dying in Louisiana. So plenty of pork. Latinos eat a lot of pork. I had Venezuelan food from Bocadillo. Have you ever
Okay.
gone to Bocadillo?
I'm not.
There's a restaurant. It's like Venezuelan street food. So it's like arepas filled with like. Oh, no. You have had it because that's what
You fed me the leftovers. There was half an arepa on my plate.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Like, but it had shredded pork. So yeah, pork be out there. Pork be out there doing stuff. Men have nothing to do with this.
We love a Cajun man.
I don't think I've ever met a Cajun man.
You never. The accent is very, very specific. It's like I actually don't. I cannot.
It's like
take the
Southern
accent
but
at all.
French.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like a Southern French accent.
Yes,
which
you're
is
right.
wild.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I've heard it like on media, but I've never like met someone.
Yeah. Think like Quebecois, but like I don't even know. I was like, but like spicier.
Yeah.
There was some
Cajun?
Cajun seasoning.
I love it. They stay on brand.
Un peu de spice.
Un peu de épicé.
Épicé.
Épice.
Épice.
Un peu d'épice. Un peu d'épice. Because it's D apostrophe before a vowel, right? Anyways, what are arepas again? They're like a corn, like kind of like a tortilla, but they're like thicker. And flautas. Yeah, flautas are fire. You're totally right, Doug. Anyways, and you can have just like when I was dating Alex, she's Colombian and Chilean, I think. I should know this. She's Colombian and Chilean. I'm 99% sure. And she served me just like arepas for breakfast where you just like toast them and put like butter and like a little bit of sugar on them kind of thing. But you can also like kind of do them like a taco. You know, like stuff them full of stuff.
Absolutely. It's, every culture has their bread sandwich filled item.
What's a non-bread sandwich? A bread sandwich. What?
Lettuce wrap.
Oh,
ma'am.
True. Lettuce wrap, ma'am. I thought that was like a healthy thing that we do now, not like an actual cuisine thing.
Yeah.
Or is it cuisine that's been appropriated from another culture? Probably.
That's a good question. I have no idea.
I don't know enough. But this is a science podcast, not a food podcast. So we don't know.
The geopolitics of
lettuce wraps.
Of lettuce wraps.
Honestly, I'd be interested to know that though. But yeah. Anyways, that's our life update. Is mainly food, which is kind of nice. Oh, I went to a concert. Oh, I told you guys about the concert because I streamed the day before the concert. And I went on Saturday, and this is my Alpha Wolf shirt. It's like, super, super dope. It says, it must be so easy being so weak. And there's like torture devices on here. So it's like, just straight up very metal. And it's not a crop top because I don't want to cut the bottom content off. Still tried to make it a crop top. Listen, I tied it up on the fucking side. It's not a crop top, it's just top. It's not long top or short top, just top.
Alicia her trademark brand is just crop tops. So much so that somebody in one of our classes that we TA for gave her an end of the year review in which it said, "Why is her stomach always out?" And I was like, who is this?
It was much worse than that. I have a screenshot of it. I will read you what it actually said.
Like,
who
is this
savage?
This boomer zoomer who was out here like, fuck this TA and her crop tops?
Right?
Absolutely not.
Maybe I did. I feel like we talked about this on our previous stream. I was going to say on one of our streams. We've only had one other one. But I feel like this is ringing a bell. And I wasn't even drinking last stream, so I should remember it, but maybe I can find it, maybe I can't.
Please get a grip, our mod. Did he already make
Yeah, that's your husband.
Yes, I'm aware. I'm asking.
Is he a mod? Hi, anti-hamper.
Yeah.
Thank you, but no. Oh, I didn't see this. Hi, I want to offer promotion of your channel.
No,
Oh,
that's
Jesus.
why I'm asking about our mod.
Oh, I didn't clock that stuff had happened in the chat. I was looking in the bottom. Maybe I'll never find this. Maybe I'm not going to find it right now. But the point is, it wasn't just why is she always wearing a crop top. It was like, she's always wearing a crop top and she's a representative of the university, so she should dress more respectfully as like an authority figure, and I'm not trying to sexualize her, but it's distracting. And I was like, please fuck off. Also, we sit in our class, like facing the front of the thing, and it's always a winter class, so I'm almost always wearing a winter jacket. And so this means that this person was upset by me facing forward, like we're in a movie theater, wearing a crop top underneath my thing.
Yeah, and last year we did all of our, as we are this year, did all of our like exam reviews over Zoom. So they were upset that they could see what at their desk level. Like, I'm so confused. Anyways, yeah, and Will Hugh can speak to this as well. If all of the TAs and graduate students in our university were representatives of the university, I think that would be very telling of what kind of university McGill is.
Yeah. Well, and also, like, it would be a much better university because we would be getting paid more and just life would be better. True. Because students have, like, better perspective on things and we get paid jack shit. But yeah, 4 square inches of midriff. Just a square patch here of midriff, not a strip of midriff, a stripe. Yeah. So we have a couple of things that we were going to talk about. TA equals sad life. Honestly, real talk. Is Will your friend?
Yeah. Oh, cool. This is, yeah.
Hi. Welcome. Nice to kind of meet you.
Virtually meet you.
Anyways, there was a couple of things that we like thought about maybe talking about. I can't remember if there was something that I said that I was going to talk about last stream. Oh, we were going to maybe talk about color and linguistic determinism, but I feel like that's just a little heavy to start a stream off with. We don't want to use things like determinism. You know?
Color and linguistic determinism.
You've heard me talk about this because of the color game. I guess we're talking about it now. So
okay.
Sucks to suck.
Oh,
buckle in.
Oh yeah, here we go. This is going to be a sex differences chat, gender and sex talk. Yeah? Is it?
Maybe.
Continue.
So, okay, I was, the color game, like the one that we play that you guys roast me because I say that grass is a different color than grass actually is.
Yeah.
So it's like a color gradient and there's like a grid. It's kind of like the game like Hues. It's called Hues and Clues, but it's like the game I Love Hue on your phone. If people play that, probably not. I'm 100.
It's a color grid essentially. So it's like there's a gradient that goes across from like purple to green and like red to blue.
Yeah, and you have to get the other person to guess. Like you pick up a card and it tells you which on the grid that you are, and then you have to get the other people to guess it by giving like a 1-word clue, like grass. And I give awful clues. Which isn't the point of the story. But I think I told you guys in the thing when we were like all sitting there with Ellery, one of our lab mates, and Lucas, one of our other lab mates or former lab mates. And I was talking about this study where they took Russian people specifically because the Russian language has different words for blue that aren't just blue. Like we would call, like this blue, we would call like the sky blue, and they're like obviously very different shades of blue. And in the Russian culture they have like dark sky and light sky, or like that's what they would like translate to. And what they found was if you have different words for them, you can actually distinguish the difference between them better. So like if they showed them 2 swatches that were like one kind of like CMYK code off or whatever, they were easier to detect if they were the same or different kind of thing.
That's actually very interesting. You want to know, actually, there's another study that I know of that looked at essentially the how many words you have for something is actually how important it is in your culture. So for instance,
snow.
Yeah, Inuit cultures have like 1,000 words for snow. Yeah. Surprised Canadians don't, honestly, but
well, I mean, the Inuk people are, indigenous Canadian people as well.
Yeah, this is true. I guess the English language didn't go beyond just snow.
Yeah.
But we have snow, sleet, I guess, some other words.
But
wintry mix.
Would you think about that as different colors? I'm still just like, if it's snow, it's white.
But that's what I was going to ask. Do you think that blue is particularly important to the Russian culture, which is why they would have so many different names for it and words for it?
I could hypothesize. I would guess that because it's further north, maybe, that like the difference is in like gradients of sky, because that's like one of the specific examples that this paper cites is that they talk about dark sky versus light sky, that has a greater impact on like survival ability the further north you are, like in terms of like latitude, longitude kind of thing. Latitude's this way?
Latitude?
Yeah.
Longitude.
Yeah. Anyways, in terms of latitude, the further north you are, the more it would matter if like the sky is kind of, you know, dark, if you're losing daylight, because at some point you get like those 30 days of night where the sun doesn't go up.
True,
so
yeah.
that's my best guess. That is based in nothing but just my noggin, which is, you know, take that as you will. Dougylicious, like how we have periwinkle and fuchsia, kind of, but I think it's more like culturally entrenched than those colors are. Because those are fashiony colors, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say, what colors does the English language have the most words to describe? That's a very interesting. I think Doug is on to a point with purple, maybe, because there's so many different varieties of purple, I guess, maybe based in different flowers, but also purple being a royal color. Does that show that we're preoccupied with money or royalty or status?
I don't know that we would have more of purple. I think we have more red. And it depends on where you draw the line, right? Because like if you say like dark fuchsia versus light fuchsia, does that count? Not really, because we're using an amplifier, kind of like, or a modifying word with the actual word itself. But there's stuff about like which color words develop first universally across all cultures. They develop a word for dark and light, so like black and white kind of thing.
Okay.
That comes first culturally, like historically across all cultures. And then red, because blood. They think that it's evolutionary. Like there's no way to prove it, of course, but like you think about it logically, that makes sense, that red usually comes out next in their lexicon. And then comes yellow and blue, and then comes green, which is weird.
Then comes green.
Yeah. I guess just because the other ones are primary colors, maybe? I don't know. I still refuse to accept that periwinkle is a color. Who named it? Why? Which color words? Which color words? Like, which color words? I want to find out why periwinkle is called periwinkle. We're gonna look. Why? Well, we can do a screen share. Let's share a screen. Share it. Boom.
Oh, look at that. Wow.
Oh, there's a little inset of us. How lovely.
For those of you who didn't come to our first stream, you may know that my husband / tech support is a massive nerd because he uses Mozilla Firefox and not Google Chrome like the rest of us noobs.
Where's the word periwinkle from? Diminutive of the 12th century word
parvink,
which is derived from the Old English word parvins, which in turn is derived from parvinca. Jesus Christ. So it's all just named after a plant. It was the name of the plant, and the color of the plant's flower is presumably.
But it went periwinkle. Why, we could have just stayed with parwink. Why did we add so much to it?
Why do we do a lot of things?
Why do we
say like bet when things are, you know what I mean? Like what language
do you say bet, Alicia?
No, of course I don't say bet. Are you kidding me? Of course I don't say bet. I don't even know how to use like nomenclature from like 10 years ago that was relevant, like YOLO and stuff like that. That's more than 10 years ago. That's 15, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. Nobody says YOLO anymore.
Exactly. By the
Except
time I learned how
ironically.
I mean, I feel like I use it unironically, which, you know, reveals a lot about who I am as a person. Anyways, I found out related to this. Let's undo. Just chatting. I guess I closed the window that I didn't want to close. Whoopsie. Anyways, it appears many have Russian origins. Honestly, I feel like Russia has a lot to do with a lot of things. It's big, you know? There's a lot of stuff there. The more surface area.
It's a lot of landmass there.
Exactly, there's a lot of
That's
landmass.
about it. And a lot of snow and a lot of blue things, clearly.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know why they would have more words for blue. Like that honestly was my best guess. But I was watching a video of this like word nerd dude on YouTube that was talking about the reason that we have like preposterous collective nouns. Like, you know, like a confusion of weasels or like a parliament of owls or a murder of crows, instead of just like, that's a flock of crows. You know?
Yeah, okay.
Like, why we have these like weird ones. And
who decided such things?
It was like some 15th century like falconry manual where a guy was just wrote it down, and then people were like, okay.
A murder of crows.
Yeah, they just went with it. And then apparently it like died out a whole bunch, and then early in the 19th century or 20th century, sorry. I mix up which, you know, when it's 19th century, it means it's 1800s. Anyways, it was the 1900s, and they had like a resurgence, and then people just started making them up. Like, just there's no
Nice.
actual like rhyme or reason, like a crash of rhinoceros. There's no like etymological history to that. Someone just decided.
So you want to know something? My supervisor and his wife actually tried to do that exact thing while we were at cabin weekend in the past 2 weeks. So for some reason, you know, I essentially run my own lab within the lab. I have 5 undergraduate students to my name running my studies for me, and they all decided to come to this cabin weekend, which my supervisor and his wife were hosting for us. And I did not go out of my way to invite them. I was very happy that they were all coming and they felt comfortable enough to come. But my supervisor and his wife were very taken aback, and they were like, what do we call a horde of undergrads? And we decided on a nursery, as it references their youth, yet also their ability and potential to grow if you water them with knowledge and love and all these things. So
That's precious. I like that.
yeah,
A nursery of undergraduates.
nursery of undergraduate students.
The evolution of language. I won't even get started on the lexicon that is gay lingo. Lots of trees too. They do have lots of trees in Russia. Are you both doing a PhD at the same lab? We are.
We are doing a
Well, she's
PhD.
co-supervised, so.
Yes, so one of my other lab mates is actually in the chat for my co-supervisor, but yes, me and Alicia are doing our PhD together.
I didn't want to forget to talk about gay lingo because I love gay lingo, and I really like that.
Get a Grip told us not to water the undergraduates. We'll do our best.
Listen, I want to get some of the undergraduates wet, but oh, just kidding. I'm attracted to 0 of my undergraduates, just to be fair. But historically, that has not been the case for me. But I didn't do anything about it. Please don't clip it. Jesus Christ, I'm gonna get canceled.
That's how you get canceled.
Listen, context is everything. I was being funny. That's just who I am. Also, I'm like vaguely inappropriate, so like whatever, you know. If cancel me, by all means, cancel me.
Oh my god.
Please don't water the undergraduates. What topic do you work at, if I may ask? Of course you may ask. We both study pain in different ways. This is vulgar science, exactly. I am branding right now
she
by
is.
being
Vulgarity. Sorry, to answer your question, Sausage Pudding, we work in neuroscience. So Alicia does a lot of mouse work, behavioral stuff. She was working in addiction for a really long time. We both specifically work in pain, and I work with humans. I do some like psychophysiological type stuff. So I essentially put like pain stimuli on them and like ask them how much it is, and I look at their pain perception based on different factors.
Yeah. And
But yeah.
I look at like pain-induced facial grimacing. So you know when you stub your toe and you go like, ah, you scrunch up your face and stuff like that.
One more time, show us again, for the camera. Okay.
Anyways, that's not gonna look great. That's not a good look. I don't like that at all. But listen, I'll do it for the science, for the vulgar science. Anyways, turns out almost all organisms that have like any sort of like facial, you know, expressive abilities also do this. But we don't know how much it's tied to the physiological sensation of pain versus the actual like emotional component of pain that causes like the suffering that's associated with pain. Because otherwise it is much just like another sensation if it's not associated with like actual unpleasantness, right? So we're trying to figure out whether or not that facial affect kind of output is reflective of that, because then if you wanted to ask people about their pain and make sure that it was more accurate or unbiased kind of thing rather than a self-report, you know, you could just induce the face by, you know, tapping their knee or squeezing their finger or doing any of these measures, and then they can't help. I guess they could inhibit their face, but you know, anyways, doesn't matter. That's what I study. And the brain circuitry and stuff like that. I did brain surgery today.
Look at you, you little surgeon. I'm
I
so
know,
proud of
little
you.
Surgeon. I did 8. That's lots.
That is lots.
Does this hurt? On a scale of 0 to 10, how much do you like it?
That's a study that is actually happening in our lab pretty soon. We're looking at, Sausage Pudding, brain surgery on mice, actually, specifically, on rodent brain surgery. Our supervisor is actually looking into essentially why some people actually enjoy painful stimuli, which is essentially, like,
Masochism.
it's a gene, right, that's associated?
So he thinks that there's two different types of A beta fibers, I want to say. I don't know. He thinks that there's two different types of touch fibers, or two different types of this like one kind of like umbrella type of fibers that we have that respond to like touch, painful and non-painful. And that there's like heterogeneity. There's like two types within that kind of bigger type, and some of them respond preferentially to like a certain type of pain, and some people find that pleasurable, and that they land at different places in the brain potentially, and that's what makes it so that the same sensation for one person might be like an ooh la la sensation for another person.
Yeah, so sausage pudding. So actually one of the studies that we sort of referenced Schadenfreude. We weren't directly working
The human
with
scientist.
it.
That's Layla.
Yes, I am a human scientist. I am humans and I am science. Bet lots of BDSM fans would be interested in that. So he's actually considering going around to, like, we're talking Folsom Fair, or what's Folsom Fest? Is that it? Is that what it's called in San Francisco?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You don't? Okay, so for those of you who don't know,
Folsom Street Fair.
Folsom Street Fair, thank you.
Yeah. It's where people just like straight up fuck in the streets, right?
Yes, so in San Francisco, it's a gay mecca, I guess is how we'll describe that.
Yeah, San Fran.
And there is a street fair every year where it is like, I think it's during Pride, which is just, everyone is out, like people walk around completely nude, like it is like Pride on steroids. So essentially there's going to be a lot of BDSM fans there and a lot of kink fans. And so he's actually going to go around and ask people who are like masochists, like, about their experience and if they'll participate in our study that he's planning on recruiting that way.
I feel like you could just put up a poster. I don't think that you need to physically go there.
I think Jeff wants to physically go there. He wants
Exactly.
wants to be part of it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Sounds like a fun activity to witness or experience. Yeah. Honestly, yeah, T. I don't know that I want to go, but I would like to casually observe it as a scientist.
Absolutely. I would love to be a fly on the wall, but yeah.
You can just go to sex clubs, though. That happens lots at sex clubs. You can be a fly on the wall.
Just people having sex at sex clubs?
Yeah.
Really?
Fancy that.
What?
World of wonder. They have sex clubs. Just wanted to have an excuse to go there. Honestly, he was never into science. His whole career was leading up to this so that he could go to Folsom Street Fair and say that it's for science. There's plenty of videos on the internet, but that may just be porn. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, this reminds me of, you might not know about this, but Doug, surely you'll remember this. There was a girl once that got Eiffel Towered at Stampede in a bus stop. Stampede is like a Calgary event that's like world famous. Where just basically the entire city turns cowboy for like a week and a half, and people come from all over the world to dress like a cowboy and basically go to a country fair and watch a rodeo and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
There's also free pancake breakfasts across the city every single day. There's an app called Flapjack Finder, which is fantastic. You need
I'm gonna download it
definitely
this summer.
That, because you get a free Stampede breakfast, and they have them at like malls and blah blah. Anyways, so you can get free breakfast every day for a week and a half, and they're like really delicious. And this girl decided to like live her best life, and someone caught it on camera, and then she did like a little mini stripping like tour of Alberta, because she got like local circuit famous from,
Get an Eiffel Tower in a bus stop?
I think it was a bus stop. Yeah, I think it was a bus stop.
Honestly, what a life to live.
No shade, honestly.
No,
get yours, girl.
Yeah, like no shame, and she capitalized on it, like empowerment to the max. Yeah, amazing.
Exactly. People were like reading her to filth, and this was like earlier on in my feminist journey, if you will. And I remember being like, "Fucking let the girl live! Like, why are the two guys that are doing the Eiffel Tower not getting read to filth? Let the girl live." Anyways, Alexis Fruling. Yeah, exactly.
For Wiz Khalifa tickets, is that accurate? Is that? Okay, well.
Did she really do it for Wiz Khalifa? Did she get to go to Wiz Khalifa? I guess that's the question. They should give her way more than Wiz Khalifa tickets for what she did. Hang on. We went from one thing back to
good for her.
I don't even think it was covered. It was just in the open. Yes, look it up. I don't know that we should look it up. I don't think we should have
don't
people
think
having intercourse
on
on the
our
stream.
stream,
We could talk about it.
We could talk about
But
it.
we can hear tech support laughing from 3 rooms away. Probably, yeah,
Terms of service.
Totally, 100%.
100%.
Look it up at your own leisure.
Yeah.
It's a short and sweet video. It's grainy. It was taken on like a Nokia 3310 probably while a guy was playing Snake.
They had cameras on phones back
No,
then.
of course they didn't. That's the joke. In being funny. Oh.
No titties on the street.
Oh, titties on the street. JK, yeah. Oh, titties on the street, TOS. I much prefer titties on the street to terms of service. I just need to know if she got those tickets. It was Reddit famous for a bit. Hey, look at that. All the way in America? Were you living in Florida at the time? Did it make it to Florida from Calgary, Alberta?
Yeah, News Clues.
Fucking, yeah. Get it, Alexis. She actually, this is after, I used to work at a strip club, not as a stripper, as a server.
That's what they all say.
They offered me to. They were like, do you want to be a go-go dancer? And I'm like, ma'am, that's
a stripper.
Well, that's a stripper that keeps your clothes on for now. And then they grandfather you in. And honestly, no shade. People go on, do your best. Like, if you saw me dance, you would be like, she shouldn't be a stripper at all. It's true. We were
just does a little two-step on the stage.
I could
Take it off. Woo.
I could strip mosh. How about that? I could strip mosh. There's probably a market for that. People would love that.
I bet there is, honestly.
Yeah, I'm not gonna strip mosh though. Emphasis on the vulgar in this stream. Honestly, yeah. I deliberately picked some topics that would do stuff. Not that any of them have been this, but steer into this. The sprinkler. Correction spell. Hi. Don't know if you've come to our stream before, but welcome. The sprinkler, I don't know if I like the double entendre of that being that intense, but yeah, you could do the sprinkler, the dance move. Rather VIP girls do so or some like that. I don't know what that sentence means. Sausage?
He's saying that some of the VIP girls just be doing the two-step. I think. Is that what Sausage clarify for us?
Oh, you mean like when you go in the private room and they just...
They just...
That's not what they're doing either.
They do a two-step on your crotch.
Alicia Lore. Imperfect Pixels. Hey, how's it going? Yeah, Alicia Lore. I only did it for a very short amount of time, and I was the worst waitress in all of history ever to waitress any single thing on the planet. I can't emphasize that enough. My very first table on my very first night, I was carrying 2 pints of beer, and it was one of those booths. You've heard this story, yeah, like 1,000 times. It was one of those booths that's like horseshoe shaped, and there's like a little step up, and I was like ready to go and be like, I'm gonna get tips and be cute. And then I tripped on the thing and just like launched, not spilled, launched these pints at these 2 gentlemen, and they weren't happy about that at all. And I cried. And then the girl that was the manager was just like, you're going to make so much money tonight. Like, dust yourself off and get back out there. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then I went home with $700. This is pre-recession. Was it pre-recession? It was pre-second recession. It was post-2008 when Alberta was like being rich again. So.
Apparently, Doug I turn this story into a reel on Instagram, and it came up with a video of me dancing in a club. Did you take an Instagram video of me at a dance club? I'm so confused.
Oh, one of those little suggestion things. Oh, the video of you dancing. Probably when we used to go to Sky.
Honestly, I love a good gay dance club. That was vibes back in the day. Pre-COVID, what a life to live, to go out, to dance.
It was, you were there
to do a two-step in the club.
It's the only thing I knew. I remember I wore boxers sticking out of my jeans, and the lesbians were like, hello, ma'am.
hello, ma'am.
Yeah, it was a good look. I thought it looked cool. By the way, Layla, oh, sorry. I don't know where to read. I don't have my glasses. It's far away, and I'm blind now.
Really aging yourself up there. So what is it that attracts men to women and women to men, especially in a club setting? Like, what is the energy that
Oh, do you want to talk about Bad Boys? Is this a segue to Bad Boys?
I was trying to do a segue. You don't have to out me.
Sorry. I didn't know that's what we were doing. Listen, we can't fake things on this.
Nah, clearly not.
Yeah. Not with me.
You're like, is that a segue, man? It's just me like wheeling in on the little thing, and you're like, is that a segue? Like, yeah, that's a segue. Mateo.
Listen, you know your girl has no subtlety, so that was you trying something that you knew was bound to fail. I refuse to take responsibility for that.
Anyways, well, you said the lesbians flock to your boxers. So
the lesbians did flock to my boxers.
In a straight club, what attracts men to women to men?
Well, okay, according to this study that I have, this bad boy study, we have questions though before we get to the bad boy study. Or do you know Harmony? Is that a person?
I'm gonna go with yes, that's a person, and no, we do not know Harmony. Do you know what lab they work in? Sausage pudding.
Flock to your box. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. 69,420.
No.
No, can you imagine like back in the day when you used to have like, maybe you're too young for this, but like when you would choose your like your email address and it would be like flock to my box. Did you just signal to your husband to bring you another thing through the I love this. This is so chaos. Anyways, but it could be flock to your box 69,420 at hotmail.com.
Are you talking about instant messenger?
I'm talking about a lot of things and nothing all at the same time.
Too young for
XXX
age,
420,
sex, location.
Listen, George Armony, George or Jorge. Edgy days of 2000s internet, MSN Messenger. My God, oh, I can hear the noise.
Was the dial-up noise?
I'm gonna. You know what? We're gonna screen share screen. Oh. And we're going to see if we can look up George Armony. Harmony. I have no idea who this person is. Neuroprocessing of emotional information. It's interactive with other cognitive processes.
Oh, they probably work at the M&I.
Oh, he works at the
Douglas. That's why we don't know him.
Also, fMRI is boring, so just...
Okay, you...
Functional neuroimaging.
Massive disagree, but you can tell us your anecdote about why you hate it.
My God, MySpace. He works at M&I. Yeah, I don't know. I've never seen that fellow before. Seems like a person of science, though. Oh, damn. The mice ones hate fMRI. That's not true. Okay, I personally have just a lot of negative associations with functional neuroimaging and the people that write about it. I have a lot of difficulty getting interested in it because I think that people don't write it interestingly. They're just like, oh, the Sylvan Fisher and this area of the brain with the, like, tell me why I should care about that, you know? And they don't. And then they just tell you more neuroanatomy and cytoarchitecture, and I'm like...
Did you know that they actually make tiny baby MRIs for mice?
Yes.
They're the cutest things in
yes,
existence,
they
honestly.
Really cute.
I love them so much.
Yeah. To mice one. Yes, I am the mice one. I'm actually the rat one if I want to be really a stickler about it. Though I work on mice now, I much prefer rats. But maybe I shouldn't say this. There's a mouse that I've met recently that lives with other mice, and the other mice were bullying him, and they're all siblings. And they bit his ear off, so I want to own this mouse. But I don't think that...
rescue him.
Well, I don't know. But I have a dog, and mice are afraid of, like, dogs and cats. Like, the scent is, like, something that we use as, like, an acute stressor to them. And I feel like I don't want to stress him out. And also, they don't like being alone, but I don't think that he likes living with his brothers, having his ears bitten off. So, anyways, I kept him in my pocket when I was doing surgery. He didn't get surgery, obviously. That would be completely unethical to do that on, an already injured mouse. Anyways, I kept him in my pocket and fed him sugar pellets.
That sounds like you.
And then I asked Paula, I'm like, Paula, should I take him home? And she's like, I don't know.
She's like, that's against the rules, Alicia.
Yeah, well, and she's like, I got it like a true north compass to doing the right thing. So yeah. Yeah, it's not an easy subject to wrap around. Lots of fMRIers are like physicists who are rather technical than theoretical.
Tell your salmon anecdote.
Yeah, okay, so here's the other thing is fMRI is a background subtraction method. We've talked about that on the stream before, but basically it means that you are taking any activity and subtracting it from the default activity, which, you know, what's default? Is default sleeping? Is default being awake and doing nothing? And you know what I mean? So like
Baseline.
yeah, what's the baseline of you know, brain activity? Dead? I know. Anyways, they put a dead salmon in an MRI and they got a signal. So tell me a little bit more about,
But what if you're using a healthy population? That's the thing, is if you're doing a healthy...
Yeah, or within subject's design.
Yeah, exactly. So you're looking at somebody over time during multiple, we'll say, stressors or something like that. What does their brain do? Yeah. Well, you're comparing them to what? Just baseline quiet rest, them asleep?
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of subjectivity in it.
He's saying that, you know, when you're sleeping, you have the default mode network. And you have that even when you're awake. Like, what they decide the default mode network is completely arbitrary as well. Because, like, individual to individual. The salmon one didn't show that it had activity. I mean, okay. Let's pull it up. Listen, I'm telling this story because a prof told it to me once. So I have not verified my facts. It showed that by twisting statistics, you can make anything. That's also true.
That's just science.
Yeah. No. But I think the point is, because it's a background subtraction method, you can get signal from the thing, right? Like, so, sorry, I guess I should be more clear. That is the point, yeah. That you can extract meaning out of it. And the fact that it is background subtraction is just, it's a flawed method, right? And I don't think that there's any way around that. So that's like the big asterisk on any fMRI study. And to be fair, you also don't get cell type specificity or receptor type specificity. I've gone on about that. Like, it's cool. You get activity and voxels and stuff like that, but you have to like place that information in something meaningful. It's like when people get molecular and stuff like that, they're like, oh this ion channel. I'm like, to what end though? You know, like, why do I care about the ion channel? I don't, unless you make me care.
That's true.
Yeah.
So could you say that salmon study was serving fish?
Serving fish. Gay lingo. I don't know, lots of fMRI studies help understand the way different pathologies ended up. Dude, of course, sorry, don't get it twisted. Just because I find it boring doesn't mean it's useless. I just don't like it because I fall asleep reading it. It's my favorite things are behavior. I like observable phenomena.
And yeah, as a human researcher, I recognize that that's one of the most non-invasive, useful techniques that we have. It's probably one of the biggest scientific, I don't want to say discoveries, but scientific advancements in the past 20 to 30 years. So like, absolutely it has its uses. It's like wonderful, but I do think she's right that like interpretation often some people can go too far with it, and like as with many scientific.
Oh yeah, 100%. That's not unique to fMRI. Like But anyways, it's just, this is just my personal like bullshit with people that study fMRI that I've known personally that just suck. And me associating that erroneously, doing a bad Pavlovian association, which is way more interesting because it's behavior. Just saying. This eye roll. Love that. Clip
dog
that.
Drools. Oh, interesting.
That is interesting. If there's a dog involved, I'm there.
I know you are. As soon as I mention any animal, you're like,
I'm just like, sick. Tell me about the dog drool. fMRI is also behavior. Sure, if they're like tapping their finger and like flapping their eyes and stuff, you can't move them. Have you ever been in an MRI machine? They're tight. Anyways, yeah, you know me. Are we like done with OPP? Yeah, you know me. Is that what we're doing there? Anyways, serving fish. Neuronal behavior. That's not what I mean by behavior. Come on. That's not what I mean by behavior. Also, neurons like aren't behaving really. I don't know. What do we call behavior? In any event, neuronal activity, interesting, useful. Did you watch The Last of Us?
So, we have officially updated the daddy list from last stream.
Who else is on the daddy list?
I don't know if we officially added Pedro Pascal to it.
Oh, yeah, he was definitely on it.
Was he? I don't know if I think he got mentioned possibly as a daddy, but there has been much media about him being a daddy lately, and 100% absolutely. So officially, the list of daddies are Choke Me Daddy Biscuits
from Popeyes,
Prime Minister Trudeau,
Daddy Trudeau,
and Pedro Pascal from The Last of Us, Game of Thrones, and
also the guy that plays Perry in The Last of Us is Daddy, because that's what got us talking about.
Do we have any other nominations for the daddy list that we need to assess?
A scroll needs to be pulled out for when the daddy list gets updated.
Okay.
I like this news clues.
Idea.
Yeah. This is good content. That's top tier level stuff. So the daddy list is 4. A scroll for the daddy list. Get a little scroll for daddy. I shouldn't talk like that on a stream.
Absolutely not. You should not be talking.
Listen, you're the one that was in the thing like, the daddy list. Tells me not to do it, does it immediately after. I don't know who else would be a daddy. Clip it. I like, finish him, push. You know, like Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you think that there's any cartoon daddies? This is weird. Do you
This
think
is
there's any,
weird.
do you think any cartoon characters are hot?
Okay, so you know what? Actually, now I'm gonna get real. So we're going into some of the stuff that I actually wanted to talk about. So my husband, as I mentioned, is a massive nerd, and so he just got me onto webcomics. One very specifically, it is called Lore Olympus, and it's based in Greek mythology, but it is essentially like a modern retelling of the story, but it uses
like a Percy Jackson kind of thing.
Yeah, in a way. And so it uses like modern tropes. So think like 50 Shades of Grey. Like he's an eccentric billionaire with like a hot body, and then like she's like a
she's getting thirsty.
You gotta get cooled down. And then she's like a young woman who like doesn't know what she wants to do with her life and is like young and naive and like that. So those tropes that we see so commonly in literature and in like female erotica. So that yes, there are some cartoon characters that I have found attractive due to this.
We've got. I'm sure there's a marquee you can add to stream with contenders. There probably is once I get to affiliate. Honestly. Once we get to affiliate. Samurai Jack. Who's that?
I've
heard of that.
Cartoon Network character from the 2000s.
Let's screen share. Let's find out. Let's look at these potential daddies. I don't know if cartoons are going to be daddies. Samurai Jack.
Pre-science Professor Utonium from the Powerpuff Girls?
None of these people are attractive to me. But let's look
It's
at
the
let's
cartoon character.
Okay, you want to know? This reminds me of Li Shang from Mulan, and that guy could get it for sure.
High key.
Similar vibe. I think it's just like the samurai thing and the sword, the way he's holding it, because there's definitely a part in I'll Make a Man Out of You when they're singing that he like does a very similar pose, and it's super hot. So yeah, Samurai Jack, definitely added to the list.
An overlay.
Long hair Jack.
Long hair Jack.
The dad from
I'm talking about this one down here.
Oh.
Let's zoom in. Beautiful.
Ooh la la. Yeah, okay.
Loving the man bun, you know. We love a man. Ooh, oh.
Look at this. Triple Jack. Battle through time.
Love you so much, but please use an incognito window.
Oh, I didn't know. I didn't know.
All you have to do is right-click on the icon on the Windows bar at the bottom, and then it'll say private window.
Where? Oh, Jesus.
No, we don't know how to do this.
Here.
We don't use
This is
Mozilla
Windows.
Firefox. I told you. You're a massive nerd.
I'm sorry.
So
I'm doxing.
While tech support does what he needs to do,
sorry.
I'm going to talk about the science behind what we called sexy tropes. So I last year TA'd for one of the oldest, most wonderful old men who is a sexologist, who is a retiring sexologist at McGill University. His name is Irv Binnick. And his class actually explored this. So there was a study done looking at people's sexual interests online, essentially. And what it found is that heterosexual men, their most common interest is like youth in women and large breasts. So like that is encompassed in the phrase big titty teens, essentially. Or sorry, busty teens. That's the phrase. That
mommy
is
milkers.
Mommy milkers.
I didn't come up with that. That's not me. That's.
It sounds like you came up with it.
Because it's ridiculous and gross.
Okay, but
No,
busty teens, and that. And then so women's sexual interests are actually pretty much epitomized in the 50 Shades of Grey book series. So it's like these like soft moments with like a man who is like can overpower them, and like these sort of like, it's a little more complex obviously than just busty teens. But it's actually very interesting, and it's I brought this up to my husband while I was reading this webcomic that he absolutely loved and he wanted me to read, and I was like, I feel like there's a lot of these same sort of undertones here, because it's probably written by women. It's probably supposed to be catering to that type of population. So
well, sausage pudding, you definitely have a point, at least from my perspective. I think everything's evolutionary because you can't disprove it, and I just love that. Just kidding. I'm an actual scientist. I like disproving things. But yeah, of course, because like, I mean, that they say that's why like hourglass figures are more attractive, just in general, regardless of the culture and stuff like that, because that suggests that you have hips
high
that
fertility.
It's related to fertility and the ability to raise children.
Wait, we need to, sausage pudding's really putting out some really interesting suggestions. Professor Utonium, we gotta look this up. We also have Tarzan as a real hottie. Tarzan is hot, but is he a daddy?
Did anyone see how bad I typed that? Professor Root.
Oh, you, okay. Rootonium.
That's RuPaul's Utonium.
Yeah, RuPaul's Utonium, exactly. Oh. Can Professor Utonium get it? We need consensus.
I don't think he can get it with me. I feel like he would try, and then he would like objectify me and neg me a little bit, and I wouldn't like that.
His head is very square, almost too square.
He's a cartoon.
Slightly terrifying.
You want to know who could get it? Buttercup.
Okay.
Popper hates you. Oh, and Samurai Jack. Okay. I thought that you meant Powerpuff Girls for sure.
Perfect description of DiCaprio. Yeah, Leonardo DiCaprio. DiCaprio.
I love that.
Leonardo DiCaprio is problematic, to say the least.
Oh, we didn't share the screen. I just realized.
Oh shit!
So no
share
one was seeing.
Sorry.
We were talking about this. He's got a very square head. It's a rectangle. Quite square. The dad from Inside Out is really great too. Yeah, what was he's dad from Inside. I just watched that the other day. I don't know.
He was one of the first large cartoons to actually be like use like real scientists and real psychologists to like express scientific concepts, as in like the 5 or 6 main emotions?
Yeah, there's sadness, joy, disgust, fear, and anger. 5. Which is close to the actual ones. Dad from Inside Out. Oh damn. Probably the dog and the little guy. The dog. What dog?
The dog and the little guy.
I don't think Dad from Inside Out could get it for me. I think it's the pea green shirt that's throwing me off, and the slacks. I don't think I like that.
He's got a blue t-shirt on. Oh,
okay, yeah, sure.
Somebody really just went in.
Oh my.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, no, that's...
Somebody who is fantasizing about these men
apparently
out here and
the gay community.
Clearly. Yeah, that does seem like...
No, oh, whoops, I forgot that was okay, Sean, I'm sorry. Hold on.
I don't know.
Open new private window. Look
Aha.
it. She figured it out.
Look at her.
Okay, we're back. We're back.
Mr. Peabody and Sherman.
The rule of the internet is don't scroll too far.
I don't know what...
Do you have it open? Okay.
No,
Yeah.
I went to the... Don't scroll too far. I didn't scroll.
We didn't scroll at all. It was
I didn't
near
scroll
the
at
top.
all. That was like the 5th hit.
Rule of the internet, don't scroll too far. Well, we are going to keep scrolling.
Yeah. Rule of the internet, don't scroll too far. And real life IRL mod came in for us. What was I going to say? Mr. Peabody. Is that from Dexter? I think that's from Dexter. Mr. Peabody and Sherman. No. I'm having a memory. I'm having a child memory.
Look her up. Share your screen.
Going back to share screen. There's going to be science involved in this pretty soon, just so you'll... The two might have been pioneers in the science cartoon. Okay. Oh, for fuck's sake. Peabody. And what's his name? Sherman. This is like scratching a very far back memory, and I can't remember for the life of me what it is.
Wait, is this the like claymation? Oh.
This isn't who I'm thinking of.
I'm not familiar with this one.
Oh, the original. This is why I know who you're talking about, because I lived on a farm where we only had Cartoon Network for a long time, so a lot of Hanna-Barbera cartoons. Hanna-Barbera. Rule 34 again.
RuPaul with a mustache.
Doug, don't start with me. RuPaul with a mustache.
Not.
Well, first of all, the reason Doug is saying that is because I find it hysterical. I don't even want to look at this.
It is. It's actually wild.
I hate typing on keyboards like this.
He has a beard in that one picture.
This has got to be CGI'd or like faked.
Maybe,
like,
yeah,
like
that's true.
What do you call it? Anyways, look at how just preposterous that is, especially when he was doing it on the show and he kind of shortened it up a little bit. It just looks so silly. He just looks so foolish. Anyways, that's, I wouldn't sleep with RuPaul. Not that RuPaul would sleep with me.
Absolutely not. And RuPaul is absolutely not daddy. That is not
Sinbad the Sailor? I don't think that's the daddy of all daddies. But maybe. I don't know. I didn't watch Sinbad.
like the movie? Like the DreamWorks movie?
I don't know. You want to know a cartoon that I find attractive? Tuxedo Mask. That's inarguable. Tuxedo from Sailor Moon? Don't look at me like that. Tuxedo Mask?
I honestly don't know enough about Sailor Moon.
Come
Your girl's too
on.
young for that.
Okay, but Sailor Moon is timeless. Come on. Tuxedo Mask. His name is Darien. Fun fact for your Neurolecia lore, I got a Build-A-Bear when I was like 16 and named him Darien. And then I got a different Build-A-Bear and named it Serena, and then they were dating Build-A-Bears. And I was a teenager when I did this. Look at this. I just said that I don't like slacks. That was a lie. Because look at this. Look at this cartoon man. Look at his little hat. That's great. This is just, there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, okay. Here we go. Going back. Animes count? Well, okay, animes count if they're the mainstream ones, because if you go too nerd, people aren't going to know what we're talking about, you know? I think. The one guy from Naruto is kind of hot, though.
Yeah, there's definitely some cartoon characters that I'm like, a lot of the, Disney princes really were designed to...
Prince Philip? Oof. That's Sleeping Beauty's one.
Yeah.
He's the hottest one. He's objectively the hottest one.
I'm a Flynn Rider fan from Tangled.
Yeah.
A little bit of...
Yeah. Controversial opinion, and this might make people think that I'm weird, but Robin Hood, the fox...
Oh my god, stop.
...had... I think it was his philanthropy, genuinely. Like, he was, like, kind of a little bit roguish, but also a good guy. And I really like that.
Oh, my goodness. He had a chokehold in your childhood.
Yeah. It was nice. I can't watch that, but...
Choke me, Daddy Robin Hood. Okay. Here we go.
That's some R34 interest. Guys, I don't know what that means, okay?
We're talking about Rule 34. We don't know what that means.
I don't know if I want to know.
I'm a little scared, actually.
It's something about, like, if it has been... or can be done or something, if you can imagine it, if the internet has done it or something like that. I don't know. Or furry. Yeah, it does. Is that what it means? Is that what you're confirming that that's what that means? Anyways, I think Maud is coming to tell us. What's Rule 34? What's Rule 34?
Do you really want to know?
No, I don't really want to know. If that's how you preface it.
Tell us.
Oh, there's porn about
If
anything?
it exists, there's porn of it.
Oh.
Ah, I see.
Whatever.
Thank you.
Why is it Rule 34 though? What are the first 33 rules?
Yeah, that's what I want to know.
You know what? Let people get theirs.
Yeah.
I'm certainly not the only person that finds Robin Hood hot.
Oh, absolutely.
Prince of Thieves?
I've had
Hello?
many people tell me that they...
Exactly.
Even Fox Robin Hood, like, yeah.
Especially Fox Robin Hood. Yeah. If it exists, it can be sexualized online. I don't know that we even need to rule 34. I think that might just be a rule of life.
Yeah. You know why people like Robin Hood? It's because he's got like bad boy vibes. That's what it is.
Bad boy vibes, and he's a communist. Or like a socialist. A socialist. Sorry, he's not a communist. He's a socialist.
She really likes Russian shit, clearly.
Listen.
He's a communist.
Maybe. Yeah, okay, so I was reading a paper about why women like bad boys. And there was a quote that I screenshotted, actually, because this is a recent study, like super recent. And I should pull it up, actually, because I only screen capped the one part that was about bisexual women being just more unhinged, generally. The study also showed that bisexual women and so-called adrenaline junkies were more into risk takers than heterosexual women.
Sorry, bisexual women... Sorry, are they conflating adrenaline junkies and bisexual women, or just two different categories?
No, they're just saying those two types of people, bisexual women and also
adrenaline junkie.
Yeah, they both like risk takers. So basically it was related to... They did like 250,000 people or something in this study. It was insane, like a lot of people from a lot of countries, and they found that like the more affluent the country is, the more likely women were to like risk takers because they have more secure resources, was their hypothesis. And they controlled for a bunch of other stuff, and especially they have access to birth control, so the risk of casual sex with those sorts of people, or like you can have casual sex with those sorts of people and not worry about long-term investment, and you tend to be able to do that with more risky potential partners. You know what I mean? And then they stratified it by a bunch of other things, and I can't remember what else they found. I'm trying to think now. It was about the countries and the resources, and also that men didn't like risk-taking women, I think is what it was. Like women did when they had the resources for it, or when they had like social resources, more generally, or they did more. Yeah. But men were just like, nah. Overall. Compared to like baseline.
Not these skydiving women.
Sage search. Yeah.
Our internet literacy is low on this side of the camera.
I'm into high risk, high reward stuff. So we will call that
low risk, high reward.
Low risk, high reward. Oh yeah, that's different. Low risk, high reward stuff in general or in relationships?
That's a good question.
Obviously, I go high risk, low reward. That's my dating pattern, is risk it all for someone that's not worth doing it for.
Risk it all for the biscuit, for the choke me daddy biscuit.
Risk it all for the Prince biscuit. Do you think Prince is hot? Let's check this guy out. No, he's a little too clean cut. Prince biscuit, what do we think about him? Could he get it? Can you guys see him? It's too reflecty, but yeah. His cookies could get it. His little stupid outfit
He's cute, but he ain't making the daddy list, unfortunately.
I ain't getting into a high-risk relationship.
High-risk relationship. So you're into long-term investments, essentially. That makes sense.
That's a low impulsivity characteristic. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Delay of gratification, you know?
Low neuroticism.
Low neuroticism. Good for you. I am highly neurotic, which is why I'm single. It's true. There's a lot of other reasons why I'm single. That's one of them. So yeah, that's why girls like bad boys, allegedly.
That's actually very interesting. But it's culturally specific, or we'll say...
Yeah, you know what? I'm just going to pull up the study and like just remind myself a little bit more information about it because it was interesting. And it was on like Neuroscience News. Like it's a very, very recent study. Neuroscience News.
Jokes on you, Alicia. Sausage pudding is also single.
Well, sausage pudding, call me, beat me if you want to reach me. I'm just kidding. Don't do that. Don't do that. I don't want to meet strangers from the internet to date, but good luck out there. Really sausage pudding.
It's really interesting. You did just tell me that you met a stranger off the internet the other day.
Okay, so I went to the concert with someone that I know from Instagram. Like, people my age know people from Instagram, and it's not weird because we've been following each other for, like, a long time kind of thing. Anyways. Why can't I find this?
They had a
They're
child.
ridiculous.
And they also ended up being famous, apparently.
Yeah, the person that I met had brought their daughter to this thing. She's like a teenage girl. And I was like, cool dad alert. Daddy? He's not daddy though. Anyways, he's a super nice person, and turns out that he like is like a pseudo famous musician. Like lots of people were coming up and are like, "Are you this person?" And I was like, "Do you just know everybody?" He's like, "No, it's from my music." And then I just like went back to his Instagram and didn't clock the entire time that I've known him that he's got like 40,000 followers or 30,000 followers or something. Anyways, damn you getting doxxed by your bestie. LMAO, who is he? His name's Northern Music on, like, without the vowels, like the cool way to do it. You know what I mean? Like, what's
So
that?
N0RTH.
No, that's leet speak. Not
You
leet.
said without the vowels.
Yeah, but like just NRTN something. Yeah,
N.
like, but
Northern.
anyways, it's ambient, like post rock, like shoegaze kind of stuff. So I don't know if that's everybody's thing. Oh, 40K, he's a rising star. No way. No, I don't know him. Northern Music, yeah, that's them. Anyways, he wonderful guy, and his daughter like turbo cool, and I'm like, you know, a hard sell. Wait, is that the cool way to spell it, girl? I don't know. It's the way that like artists do, like Mastercraft, like the electronic music person, you know, Mastercraft. It's Merstercurved.
Merstercurved.
It is. I didn't decide that. Merstercurved.
So it's like license plate spellings, essentially.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
We just don't have the time.
It's
for
a
these
K,
vowels.
not a C, but yeah, that's exactly Merstercurved.
Merstercurved.
Fun fact, I went to see Merstercurved. Steve Aoki opened for Merstercurved, and someone else that was really famous back then.
Steve Aoki was opening for people?
Steve Aoki was opening for people and also not canceled.
Steve Aoki's canceled? What? Since when?
He's sliding into underage girls' DMs, I think, if I remember correctly.
Zoinks.
Don't quote me. I might need to fact check that, but I'm pretty sure that he got a little bit canceled.
But then like Drake would have been a little bit canceled.
I think Drake should be a little bit canceled.
I don't know if Drake you're not wrong, but I also think that Drake is not canceled currently.
Yeah, Drake's too famous to be canceled. The less letters it has, the easier it will be to remember. But I couldn't remember it. I mean, yikes. Oof, Steve, no. Remember Skrillex?
I remember Skrillex.
I remember when Skrillex
was
Sunny from First to Last. I met him before he was famous, when they were like van touring level famous with Carly.
Yeah. He cut all his hair and now he looks completely different. It's crazy.
Well, if anything, he grew his hair long but different. Anyways, Skrillex has been canceled too. I don't think Skrillex has been canceled. We were just talking about Skrillex.
Because we're talking about EDM, like Steve Aoki, probably.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, Skrillex was Sunny, and note to self, I miss you terribly. This is what we call a tragedy. Or the lyrics from Dear Diary, my teenage angst has a body count.
Interesting.
Yep. I heard Rex has been canceled. Really? Okay. Why? I believe that based on the little information that I have, having met the band adjacent.
Rex, Orange County.
People get mad when you mention Drake being sketchy. People get really mad when you mention Drake being sketchy, but honestly...
You know, I am a big Drake music fan in general, but because I'm basic, but at the same time, I also don't agree with men who are like a decade older just like randomly texting like girls. Like I think there are certain boundaries that should be drawn in life, and it's like a little uncomfy, and like yes, maybe you want to be a friend or a mentor, but like you should really just be careful because there are a lot of awkward situations that can happen.
Well, and the onus is on the adult to be a fucking adult.
Agreed.
And like know the boundaries, and like if you want to flirt with the boundaries and you think it's okay and you're like, oh, it's, you know, context is everything, that's your damage, you know, like, and you just have to be able to like hold the reality that other people might not see it that way, you know what I mean? And that's also our right to not see it that way and to think it's inappropriate, right? But yeah. Rex, Orange County. I think a couple of girls said he abused them. Are you talking about Skrillex?
No, he's talking about Rex, Orange County. Can we search Rex? I don't even know what this is.
I thought that was a place.
I'm thinking it might be a artist now.
Oh no. I dislike that a lot. All right, we're finding. I think it's a place. I think it's just a place. If it's a Rex Orange country. I don't know who that is. He looks. Like,
Is this a DJ? It's a Canadian artist. He's a Canadian artist.
why is he with Tyler the Creator? I really like Tyler the Creator. You guys can't see that because it's been.
They must have collaborated. But
I
yeah,
love
there's a
Tyler.
sexual assault allegation right above that in the middle.
Zoinks. Well, I don't need to know really the details of that. Turns out someone has accused him of that. I don't want to click it.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Unfortunate that there are allegations about some actions that are unfortunate.
No, he sings he was a big rising star.
I see.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what to do with that. It sucks to suck, I think is one of my favorite things to say. If you suck, then maybe it's gonna suck. So don't suck.
While we're on the topic of music, are there any scientific studies that have come out about music recently, Alicia?
Well, no. Good segue.
Yeah, just rolling in.
So I actually started trying to find studies related to like chills and like a sensation of awe and like, you know, being like floored by music and stuff like that. And so I was looking up like in science, arousal doesn't necessarily mean sexy stuff. Arousal just means like activated, right?
Yeah,
so
it's like physiological.
Yeah. And it's
activation.
related to being aroused in lots of cases.
Increase in blood pressure, etc. Yeah.
Yes. Respiration, all of these things. Anyway, so I was like looking up a little bit of that related to music, and it turns out that people actually do a little bit try to study like the relationship between like the sensation that you get when like music, like when a beat drops or when, you know, there's like a climax in the music, and people have like theorized that like it follows a similar kind of like natural pattern of activation that you have when you have like a literal orgasm. However, I'm reading this and it's in like the journal of like ass fuckery or something like that. Like it's it's not. It was in a journal I've never even come close to.
Journal of ass fuckery. We
I'm the editor.
We talk about fuckery.
I'm the editor in chief. This is my co-editor.
I'm the co-editor.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Put your submissions in now for our special edition.
How do you end up on those papers? You go to Folsom Street Fair and you get a little ass fuckery going. And then you publish.
Literal ass fuckery.
Then you publish on it.
Oh my god, goosebumps. Whatever happened to that kid that yodeled in Walmart? Girl, I don't know. I don't know what happens to memes and people that are in them.
It was Mason something.
He was probably on the Ellen DeGeneres show once and got like brought around to a bunch of like daytime talk shows where people like maybe actually cared about it for 30 seconds. Anyways, how do you end up with those papers? Scholar? Yeah, the impact factor on the Journal of Ass Fuckery is just out of this world. It goes like the Lancet, Cell, Nature, the Journal of Ass Fuckery, and you know, we've even eclipsed Science. One of my bosses is about to conduct a music study. Tell us about it. Tell us about the music study. Mm-hmm. Anyways, this study didn't, the person, like, I was, like, reading it, and I'm like, sounds like a little bit of, like, just clown science, you know what I mean? Like, where people have cool ideas that are just unsubstantiable or untestable, and it's like, well, that's nice for you, but, yeah. Basically, a sentiment analysis on live performance.
Oh, so, like, a qualitative study, essentially, where they're gonna code responses to. That's really interesting, actually. I don't understand about.
I mean,
yeah, the only, you know, like, there's obviously quite a bit of study, like, there's quite a bit of research done on music. I know that there's one professor at our university who does research, Carolyn Palmer, yeah, who does research essentially looking at how individuals who are musicians versus just, like, controls, like how they perceive rhythm, are they able to tap to the same beat, etc., etc. And then I know that there's actually been some research done in the pain department as well that shows that music is actually a mild analgesic for pain, and it's not like super effective, but there is a little bit of an effect.
I mentioned that last stream because
Yeah.
people were like, oh yeah, what about music and neuroscience? And I couldn't remember what Carolyn Palmer studied. I was like, there's someone in the department that studies this and I should know. And the only information I had was music can be an analgesic a little bit.
So yeah, my dad actually asked me about this recently. He's a runner, and he was like, oh, like, how do I use music as like an analgesic, and like, you know, are there beats that I can use? And I was like, I think that it taps more into like your prefrontal cortex, and it taps into the motivational aspects, right? So like
100%.
So for
that's
instance,
science. There's lots of research in that area for sure.
Yeah, like you want to listen to like the stuff that they play in like spin classes is like you are pushing through the pain and the fatigue because this music, and obviously the person at the front of the class is like motivating you
like
to
that
push through
Peloton instructor that's like super sassy. He's like, I don't care what you did this weekend, girls, push it. Anyways,
Exactly.
hilarious. Could watch that all day.
Did we push it during the weekend? I don't care what we did this weekend.
I went to a concert and last night I was in bed at 9:30. So I pushed zero things.
Push zero pushing.
I mean, I pushed my head into my pillow, I guess. I'm positive there was a paper that talked about like music helping in war because warriors' heartbeats would get in sync with when they played the drums before running or something like that.
Like, yeah, there was there's a reason that they had people that were like in battle that were literally like a drummer as you like
I thought that was for like keeping in step.
I think that's part of it, but there was also like an aspect of motivational, like hyping you up, etc.
Just a hype guy. Just
Exactly.
a battle DJ is what they're called technically.
Little drummer boy.
Drums were primarily used for cadence. So I was going to talk about cadence. There's actually like evidence to suggest there's a guy named, why can't I remember his name? Ian Wishaw, who writes like some of the biggest neuroscience textbooks, like just the textbook that's called just neuroscience. Ian Wishaw and Brian Kolb and actually my old supervisor, not the bad one, Cam Teskey, write this. Anyways, so he's like a super accomplished neuroscientist and he just like is also into horses. He's a horse guy and he took the sound of horses like running like a canter that has like a specific cadence, and he found that like the way that I think it was rats or mice or something move, or the way something fires, this was a long time ago and I don't know that it's published, but something about their natural rhythms also had that cadence, and he was like, isn't that just beautiful? And I was like, this is the most insane thing that I've ever listened to at a conference. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Anyways, they had Skrillex playing for them. I'd be interested to know if there was more to it though. I mean, we can look it up for next stream. We'll find out. We'll report back on cadence and drums and stuff like that. Horses are giant rats, or rats are baby horses. Who's to say?
You want to know? Actually, there was some interesting
Huberman fan. It's interesting that you say that because do you know who Andrew Huberman is? No? Okay. Baby rat horses. All day long I'd be into that. Can you imagine having a little pocket pony? That'd be amazing. I used to have toy horses. I'm a horse girl.
My Little Pony baby over here.
No, it wasn't My Little Pony. They were called Grand Champions. I'm not going to get into it right now.
Okay, let's not do that.
I'm not going to get into Grand Champions. If you want to Google it. They were amazing. Anyways, Imperfect Pixels, Huberman fan. The jury is still out here. So here's the thing. Huberman is a person that has a lab at Stanford. So inarguably must be a smart person, because even with nepotism, Stanford is Stanford. So like it's not a prestige university and not one of the best science universities in rankings every single year the world over for no reason. So obviously the guy knows what he's talking about. Does he overinterpret things sometimes? I've listened a little bit here and there, and I do think that there is some oversimplification and stuff like that. But that being said, how much have we probably oversimplified various studies? And like, to what degree do you want to just like read the study to your audience? Fuck no. Anyways, but I did listen to a couple of things because I thought that he might have some interesting topics and it would be interesting to talk about him. And he had an Israeli scientist on talking about like RNA and stuff like that. And he's like, well, listen, like, let's dial it back and talk about the difference between RNA and DNA because, you know, not all of my audience are scientists. And like, he kind of framed it really well and made sure that like every kind of like assertion was tempered and being like, hey, people don't necessarily always believe that. And this is how this used to be. And, you know, a little bit of background about it, which I admired. But he's also kind of in like the same category as like the Rogan people that listen to him. He's not in that category. The category of people that listen to Huberman cross over quite a bit with the Rogans and the Petersons and the so on and so forth. So careful.
Sausage Pudding says he has a 40H index.
That's halfway decent. What's Jeff's is better than 40, I think.
Is it though? I don't know.
Score. Listen, I cannot type on like these type of keyboards. Let's see.
Boss has a 71.8. Sausage Pudding. Who is your boss?
Jeff has a 94, so
Oh wow.
Huberman can suck it. Just kidding. Who's your boss? Anyways,
It's essentially an impact factor. Is like how published are you? How many citations are your publications getting?
well, and outside of your own citations too, there's like the H index is specific to like how wide your spread is, because if you just keep getting cited in low impact journals and then low impact journals cite your low impact paper, then that's different. But like if a paper in Cell cites your paper in J Neuro or in PNAS, which is my favorite journal, hilarious, Progress in Neuropsychology and something. Anyways, the abbreviation is PNAS, which I really like. Augustin Ibanez, that's a really metal name, first of all, love that. But he is young as fuck, 43 years. That's a really good H index for a 40-year-old scientist.
Literally almost their age.
I think Matt Hill, who is around that same age, has a really good one. And he is a really Matthew Hill.
Yeah, going back to talking about like the Joe Rogan and oversimplification of science and stuff. So the stuff I was talking about earlier with like, oh, women are like very sexually attracted to like this very heterosexual women are very attracted to like a very specific like type of like man and vice versa. Jordan Peterson actually talks about that type of stuff on his I don't know what algorithm is following me on Facebook. I'm like slowly moving into boomer territory. It's freaking me out. But Jordan Peterson came up in my feed as like a reel, and he was talking actually about this type of thing where there's like this sexual archetype for our women and men. And I think what's so deeply frustrating is that he takes a seat, and for those of you who don't know, Jordan Peterson is a psychologist who has a kind of started like catering his opinions to like the alt-right crowd. Like it's like
kind of
very much so.
He refuses to use pronouns because he thinks it's not real.
Yeah. So the thing is that he takes this like seed of truth and this scientific seed of truth and then expands upon it in some of the worst ways possible. So like he's talking about this, which is scientifically accurate, but then goes on to be like, oh, women want to be controlled, and it's like, no, not really. You know what I mean? Like, and then goes on to like say these like really problematic things, and it's just wild, and it's so interesting how much context you need when it comes to these type of things, and how much you should be looking. I don't want to say like quote unquote do your own research because that's a buzzword, but like you should like absolutely go back and look at people's sources for these types of information.
Yeah. He's gone pretty doubled down pretty hard on thinking that pronouns are not an acceptable thing, regardless of the government. He's doubled down on that a lot of times. And he says a lot of other harmful shit. Like, that's the thing for me, is like, you can think your own unhinged bullshit all you want. By all means, be an idiot. But be an idiot in your own space and don't hurt other people with your, like, I'm a turnip sometimes. My brain is just like literally a marble rolling around inside my head some days. But I like to think that I'm not harmful to other people about it. Basically, the amount of papers you have with the same amount of citations. So if you have a 50H index, you have 50 papers with at least 50 citations. Cool. I thought it was something to do more with like what the impact factor of the citations were. But yeah, the fact that Jordan Peterson has like rules for life when he's like not really got his own life together is quite ironic. Not that I have my life together, no judgment on that, but like fuck.
Well, like also he was talking about Jordan Peterson talking about psychoanalysis. So for those of you who aren't familiar with like psychology, psychoanalysis is like what Freud came up with. What is that? Almost 60,
100?
80 years ago. We're
100. I think no, we're 2023.
Yeah,
he
we're
was
talking
in
like
his
80,
20s.
80-ish
Yeah,
years
80.
ago. And if you look at Freud's stuff, he has some very out there theories. Like, you know, he like really wanted to interpret dreams very sexually, and he wanted to use cocaine as like the cure-all for a lot of stuff, which
To be fair, kind of is.
okay.
It also causes a lot of problems, but like you're tired, cocaine.
Yeah, well.
In pain, super great anesthetic.
Okay. And analgesic. Anesthetic. Interesting.
Local anesthetic.
Do you want to
Sodium channel blocker.
completely destroy the fabric of your nose? Go for it.
You
Cocaine.
can't. Yeah. Well, I mean that's because of additives. If it were pure, theoretically, which if you were using it in a medical context, it would be. Then it wouldn't do those things, right? But
It's true. But
don't do cocaine.
But sorry, going back to psychoanalysis, there's obviously it was based in very little actual scientific method. There was a lot of case studies and these types of things, but we're talking very low level science with a lot of philosophy on top. And so for Jordan Peterson to essentially quote or support 80-year-old theory, like we wouldn't call it scientific theory, psychological theory, is quite backwards. I suppose, as we've come so far at this point. But
Especially since he's like a card-carrying neuroscientist. Like he's a trained he's
graduated from McGill.
Yeah. Did he really?
Yes,
That makes me hate my
doesn't I
university.
know, right? Doesn't it
That
make you
sucks.
upset that he got if I'm not mistaken, somebody can correct me. He got his clinical psychology degree from McGill University. Yeah.
Which proves to you that the education system is just a big pyramid scheme, and that degrees kind of mean nothing unless the people behind it are actually doing stuff. So, good thing we're both doing a PhD, hey? Here we go. Who else is a fake scientist? Sausage pudding, tell me more. Also, cocaine's a hell of a drug. I'm going to fill my water bottle while y'all type about fake scientists. But,
Cocaine was in gum and literal Coca-Cola. This is true.
whoa. That made a loud noise, sorry.
Who else? Bill Nye the Science Guy has no papers, and Neil deGrasse Tyson. You're right. Those are actually they're like pop scientists. I think that they have actual degrees to their name, but I think that they got very just big in like popular media, and I don't think that they've done a lot of.
Did they do their own research?
Yeah, does Bill Nye the Science Guy and Neil deGrasse Tyson definitely has a doctorate degree, but I don't think...
he's also kind of a creep. He's a low back toucher.
there's some questionable antics there, and then I don't know about Bill Nye the Science Guy, actually. I don't know if he has a degree.
BNTS, Bill Nye the Science Guy. BNTSG.
BNTSG.
Yeah, I mean, papers don't mean everything though. Okay, they do, but they also don't. You know what I mean? Like, you have to run your own lab to have papers. That doesn't mean you're not a smart person if you don't run your own lab, right? Or you have to be participating in a lab. Like, some of the smarter people that I know only teach at the university level. Dr. Shane, 69. Okay, cool. Why not 69, 420?
Shane? Chain? You gotta tell us.
No. I mean, you don't need a lab for papers. Yeah, well, okay, if you want to get high impact factor papers, you do. If you want to get, like, decent ones. I don't think... Do they just publish theory papers in, the higher... you can do reviews on your own. Or use, sure.
Here's a wonderful philosophical question. Is the value of a scientist's worth derived from the number of pubs they have? Theoretically, yes. Being a scientist with no pubs to my name, I'd like to think no, but... yeah, no, you're absolutely right. So, academia in and of itself has some serious flaws.
If it weren't a broken system, then it would. But it is a broken system
Yeah.
where papers beget more papers. You can self-cite and do the self-cite circle jerk, which everybody does because you're the one that's studying the most relevant stuff to what you're studying, obviously. So it's a little bit unavoidable. But if you're not doing your due diligence and you just want to pump out papers for the sake of pumping out papers, then that ain't it. You know what I mean? And I don't know. Also funding, like how rich your lab is. If you don't have the money to have like opto dreads, MRIs and EEGs and human and rat studies and molecular stuff and histology for fucking everything, then you're not getting in Cell Nature or Science or the Lancet or the whatevers. You're getting in B Neurosci or something like that, which is fine.
Yeah, well, again, like there's a lot of emphasis on like early career. Like I feel like early career investigators, so these are people who have been working as a professor and running their own lab for probably less than 5 years. They're up against a lot essentially because it is very difficult to get funding.
It's sink or swim, yeah.
It is very it's very difficult to recruit enough it's all based in funding essentially. It's like, can you get enough students? Can you pay the students enough? Can you fund the students resource wise in order to get out these pubs that are, necessary to then increase your status and then your funding level.
Yeah.
It's all very cyclical, and like if you don't succeed at this level, then you'll never get higher.
There's a lot of glass ceilings to break through is I think, like, and informal stuff, especially like, I mean, if you start talking about like gender and ethnicity and race biases and, orientation biases and stuff like that. Part of being a good scientist is knowing how to move your way towards what really drives your interest. Certainly, yeah. But what really drives your interest doesn't necessarily mean that's what drives the interest of the editors in these journals, or that you're not going to get a reviewer that's vengeful and spiteful and knows that it's coming out of your lab, whether it's blind review or not. Like, I'm from Latin America, so I'm aware of it. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, it's one of those things where, like, if the system wasn't broken, it would be a really good way to do things. But the system's fucked. So.
Well, and in that, like, sausage pudding, I'm sure you know this, like, it is very, like, also publishing in English journals. So, like, for instance, like, there is, like, not a saying, but, like, an understanding, for instance, that, like, oh, if you don't publish in English, nobody's gonna read it. And, like, that is just this, like, kind of, like, understanding through the science community, which is kind of fucked up because, like, there is a lot of cultural relevance in people who can communicate in their natural language and don't have to try to translate into English specifically. Like, there's,
Some white-ass dude literally said that. Yeah, well, I mean, here's the thing. All the prestige universities with, like, these, like, legacy, like, good pedigree and stuff like that, which shouldn't matter in science, but it does. So, like, the MITs, the Stanfords, the Cambridges, the Oxfords, etc., are all English-speaking universities. And I think, like, Max Planck is probably one of the few, like, prestige universities in the sciences, at least, that isn't a majority English-speaking, like, place. And I think there's still an Anglo-ish university. I've known people that go there that speak zero German. So, yeah. Publish in English, I kid, though. Honestly, yeah. My boss created a person with an English name who didn't exist and added it to his papers. Whoa.
That's interesting.
I know people that have put different names on their resumes to get an interview.
Because he had read papers with English-sounding names had more chance of being cited.
They 100% do. 110%.
What? Really?
Yeah, also from being, not being from, like, places like India, China, that sort of thing, like, just where the university itself is matters, even if the name is...
Damn.
Yeah, it's fucked. Breaking news. I mean, realistically, yeah, the thing that sucks, though, is you shouldn't need to grow quickly. You should be able to do science at the pace that it's realistic to do science, carefully and methodically and thoughtfully and stuff like that. It sucks that they were put in a position where they had to do that, and that they were in a position where they had to do that for other reasons, like culturally and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Like all of that sucks.
Yeah.
All of that sucks. It shouldn't be the way that it is. So we need to grow from him to apply to grants. Yep. I'm with you, man. You shouldn't have to do it, but
Honestly, yeah. Speaking of language, like, how are the generations that are like growing up now going to be able to communicate? You know, like their natural language is emojis, and that even that emoji language is different than our language now. How the hell are they going to communicate in a scientific manner? The amount of essays as a teaching assistant that I have to read, which are written like conversationally, I'm like,
yeah.
what are you doing?
Remember that
What?
girl that put like sorry if cringe on my exam? I took a picture of it.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Like, she's like,
Well,
sorry if cringe.
I use the word like a lot in my colloquial, just like the way that I speak. But like I would never write like every sixth word in an essay or so. And I read papers like that are submitted for grading that have like consistently through them. I'm like, how is this possible? So like for instance, individuals who communicate in that kind of way, how are they like, especially with like how, you know, significant emoticons have become in the past 10 years, how are they gonna
Emoticons versus emojis.
Well.
I obviously there's a study about, like, this is a recent one too that I was reading about in, like, I think it was Neuroscience News too, that was talking about using them as like a buffer for like dissonance in what you actually feel and what you want to report to the other person. So if I gave you a gift that sucked and you were like, oh, thank you, like that would be social buffering. And then if you're typing to someone and I like say like, oh, sorry, can't make it tonight, and you put like, no problem, smiley face, but you're actually fucking devastated, but you just want to be a good person, or like, you know, any of that sort of stuff, people are more likely to use emojis for negative social buffering, and to like bridge the gap between like the dissonance of how they feel and how they want to like report. And they're much more likely to do it with negative emotions than positive ones. And obviously more so if the message or their feeling, is more intense. They're more likely to do that, especially with a positive one. But it also has to do with like your, I guess, rank kind of thing. Like you would never use an emoji with your boss unless it's like seriously like emoji worthy. But with like someone that you feel like a peer with or you're close with, you're like just gonna drop emojis all the time, which is super true in my experience. This is a Japanese study, so like, I mean, the expandability of it is maybe not expandability, generalizability. There's a real word for that, and I just didn't use it.
Do you not want to cite it because it's from Japan, Alicia?
No, I said it was from Japan on purpose because I think Japanese research should be given, but there might be cultural specificity to that, right? We need to go, I never thought about it. And are the points valid? I'm going to have some undergrads at my charge in a couple of months, and it never struck me that their lingo could be so different. Well, and code switching is a thing. Like, code switching is a thing. I code switch between friends. Like, I code switch when I'm in an intellectual thing. I even, like, dress differently for different things. If I'm giving a scientific presentation, I put on my glasses. And I don't, like, I have glasses with a little bit of a prescription, and I need them, like, I certainly could use them now to see the chat, but I don't need them to drive. Like, I don't need them legally. But you best believe that I'm going to use every cognitive trick in the book to get people to look at me and think, smart, likable, etc. Like, you should use every tool at your disposal, right? Like, I mean, I know we want to disrupt cultural norms and stuff, but like, fuck that at the same time. I was publishing a paper or doing figures with Tristan. This is my friend who's doing his postdoc at Cambridge right now that used to go to UBC and studies addiction. And we had a male-female study, and he made the males purple and the females green, which aren't even typical gendered colors, but they're close enough to gendered colors. And I was just like, dude, why'd you do that? And he's like, because, you know, I want to upset the system. And I'm just like, yeah, but you're also putting cognitive load on your people that you don't need to. Like, if you can use built-in entrenched heuristics and patterns and ways of thinking to your benefit, especially if it's not super harmful, like one paper not using that, especially when we print in black and white, is probably not going to change the world. So.
Are you driving?
No. Girl, no, I don't drink.
It's pear liqueur.
I can't.
It's delicious.
I'm on 40 days dry, man.
Give this.
She's on a
Savvy bachelor. Pseudo husband / tech support / mod just came to bring me a shot of pear liqueur. But I drove and I don't drink. Yeah, Doug, thank you for calling me out on that. I do drink. This is a lie. I don't drink right now.
Yeah.
I'm on sabbatical.
on a cleanse.
Listen, I'm not on a cleanse. I'm no dicks, no drugs, no drinking for 3 months. So that's just the way it should be.
I might need tech support though.
Tech support needs to open this.
Very tightly encased.
Pass this over.
Tech support help.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We don't need no man?
We don't need.
We don't need no man?
Independent women.
Strong, independent women.
Is this just like a
Shot
shot
of pear liqueur. BRB bio. BRB bio? What's that mean? I don't know what that means.
Use emojis. They help bonding.
They do help bonding. That's true. That's true. They found that. In that same...
A bio break. Oh, that means to use the bathroom.
Oh, bio break. These gym sessions are paying off. I mean, I am the strongest I've been ever in my life.
That's good.
Physiologically.
I was gonna say mentally too, or just
Honestly, a little bit, yeah. A little bit. But I also go to therapy weekly. So she's at the brain gym too.
Hashtag self-care.
Hashtag self-care. Yeah, when I drink, what's happening here?
Yeah, is the
I don't know.
cap lining up correctly?
There's a bit, there's
There's a
some disruption.
little ceiling
Ceiling.
situation.
Ceiling. Hashtag brain gym. Back. Welcome back, sausage pudding. Anyways, yeah, brain gym matters, emotional gym matters, gym.
Lay gym.
But honestly, I just go for like the routine of it now. Like I do go, of course, like to work out and like look buff and you know that sort of stuff. But this is slam gym, yeah, gym matters. I go for like a lot of reasons. Like having a routine is something that I've realized is something that's like super valuable in like maintaining my mental health. If my life schedule is chaos, I am chaos, and I my natural inclination is towards chaos. So I can like calm this chaos if I have like predictability in my day-to-day life. So, do you routine your lab? What does that mean?
Do you have a routine like in your like lab life? Essentially, do you go in?
No. Well.
Yeah.
No.
It's I feel like it's hard because like it's not like a 9-to-5 job. Like there's certain things you have to do on certain days, and sometimes you're staying till like 7-8 p.m. and sometimes you're going at 8 o'clock or 8:30, and so there's just a lot of variability in the schedule, unfortunately.
Especially in our type of work. Like, yeah. I think in some labs it might be doable, especially if you're more like of a data science sort of situation. But for me, like, I'm going to be doing surgeries for 3 days this week, and then I probably won't do surgeries again for a couple of months or at least a couple of weeks. And then I'll be doing videos and behavior and stuff like that in a couple of weeks on the mice that I did surgeries on.
Yeah. And like post-COVID, there's so many opportunities to work from home too these days. So like it is very easy to just not go in and just like work from your couch or your like whatever setup you have.
Yeah. I also am a strong advocate for teaching people what to expect from you and, not going over above and beyond on purpose, because then you just end up getting like wrung out like a fucking sponge. And I've been that person. And Layla's a little bit that person.
I am the sponge.
You are the sponge.
I was trying not to. I was like, oh, she coming for me.
Well, no, I'm not coming for you. I'm just, I've been that person, and there's a reason that I am not that person. And like some people like embody that a lot more. I'm resentful and hateful about it. I'm just like, Jesus fucking Christ, is no one else gonna do this? Yeah. And you probably have that a little bit down below, but you're like, I can do it. With a nice attitude, but you're also just a nicer person than I am.
I think also it's a little bit of a control thing of like, if anyone's gonna do it the best, it's gonna be me, right? So I'm like, oh,
that's
I might
true.
As well.
Yeah.
Like, it's come to the point where like our supervisor, who is a 55 approximately.
55?
Maybe 54. He's in there.
Really? Okay.
And he's like a year younger than my dad or something.
Using
like that.
sunscreen, all right.
Yeah, he's 54-ish, 55-ish old man will just be like, writes like in a group email where he's like, he has like 4 or 5,
Layla,
10,
can you do this?
20 other people on it. Will just be like, maybe somebody younger than me can figure out how to do this. And it's like using the cloud for an Excel sheet, which is like very, like Google Sheets, Microsoft Online are all like very simple things to use. And he's just like, I don't know how to do this. And it's like, you do know how to do this. You just
He
don't
just refuses.
want to.
Yeah. Honestly,
this.
I do that sometimes to my undergrads. I'm like, I know how to do this, but can you do it? But at least I say that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't fake it. I'm just like, listen, I don't want to do that. That's why I have you. It makes sense though. How deep into your PhDs are you both?
We're both coming up on 5 years at McGill.
Yeah, but I'm gonna graduate next year if all goes well. I will be Dr. Neuralicia.
And that's because she has a master's degree. Yeah. And I will probably I have to graduate the year after her, so I will be graduating in 2025, right? So then yeah.
I mean, you could graduate in 2024. You don't have to stay the whole time.
If things end quicklier than I was expecting them to be. Yeah.
But yeah, as Dougie Licious said, I have been in school since he's known me, which has been for, 8 years we're at? Somewhere around there. But I also pissed around and did my undergraduate degree part-time for the first 3 years, switched universities and had to redo a bunch of credits because they weren't transferable. And then I did full-time, and then I decided to do an honors, so then that added a little bit more time, and then doing the master's and blah, blah, blah. And then COVID and switching labs again. Yeah.
So Sausage Pudding is kind of talking a little bit about how the hierarchy of academia works, and that the higher you get into it, the less methodological you become, the more theoretical you become. And you end up telling your PhDs to focus on methodology, and you guide questions and conclusions. And I agree, that's absolutely true. I think that...
Yeah, because you collect more knowledge, right?
Exactly.
You've read more papers, you know the classic literature, you know what came out 20 years ago because you were doing science 20 years ago, right?
That is actually something I comment on, in that, I feel like profs who have been in the game for so long expect undergrads to they forget what the base level of knowledge is. They forget what zero looks like, and they have this expectation.
Fucking tea.
They have this expectation that you are working from 30% or 50% of what they've established over their career, and 30%, 50% of their career is often 5, 10, maybe even 15 years in the game. So it is sometimes very difficult to work with profs who have been in the game for a really long time, because they forget what, and they teach these classes and they have these expectations of these students should be talking in scientific writing and blah, blah, blah. And it's they don't know what that looks like. They're not taught that in high school, and they're they barely have learned it in university. So yeah, it's really hard, honestly, sometimes having to bridge that gap between those two.
Yeah, well, especially if they're not particularly understanding about it either. There's some bosses that they're this is stuff you need to know, and you got to get there kind of thing. And I think Jeff's pretty good at that. When he
Completely
puts
agree.
comments on my thing, he's like, Alicia, this is something you should know, or you're gonna need to know kind of thing. And I'm like, sweet, okay, so I can dig down into that kind of thing. But then there's other ones that are why don't you know this, and get pissy with you. And that's the difference between being a shitty person and not a shitty person, I think, just generally, or having shitty expectations. But master's in what, Alicia? A master's in experimental psychology, Master of Science in experimental psychology from the University of Calgary. What was your undergrad in? Just psychology? Or did they call it
just
something?
Basic psychology, yeah.
Here's the thing, the words kind of don't fucking matter, right? Depending on what university you go to, there was going to be degrees in psychopharmacology or in neuropsychopharmacology or in experimental psychology. Technically, my degree right now is a doctorate in experimental psychology with a specialization in behavioral neuroscience. Honestly, all of that basically means the same thing. I've known people from MIT that have very similar training to me, or from University of Michigan, that have the same background. Like we study the same stuff, or we used to study the same stuff, and theirs is called the Flim Flam of Jim Jam, and I'm like,
Yeah,
it's
like
just
I'm co-supervised in the kinesiology department, and it is actually like the stuff that I'm doing is it's neuroscience, like it's all neuroscience, but it's like very, it's very interesting how things are like lumped and split and considered to be part of this field or not this field, even though it's all like part of the same anatomy of the same,
It depends what
animal.
you want to say too. Like I
Yeah.
tell people different things based
Yeah.
on what I'm trying to articulate to
100%.
different people. Like if I'm at a conference and I'm talking to some hotshot neuroscientist, you better believe that I'm going to be like, oh, I'm a neuroscience major, when technically I'm in the psychology department. But like
Yeah.
I study neuroscience hard. I did brain surgery today. I think I'm a neuroscientist. What's the experimental part entail? So I think it's just more, rather than clinical psychology, is the distinction that they're trying to make when they use experimental psychology in the nomenclature when we label degrees, because clinical psychology, you're treating patients, right?
Experimental, typically, like, our program is a bit of a fast track into academia, so you are going to be a professor in psychology who does animal or basic human experiments.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hey, the Flim Flam of Jim Chan is a prestigious title. I mean, yeah. I put it on all my degrees. I put it on my badges when I go to conferences. I'm like, I've got a degree from Flim Flam of Jim Jam. Oh, no, wait. I'm well published in the Journal of Ass Quackery or whatever we said.
Ass fuckery.
Ass Fuckery.
Specifically.
Well, I mean, I'm also well published in Ass Quackery, so. Over here in our neuro lab, we have physicists, biologists, psychologists, linguists, engineers, and all.
Supervisor and under the same neuro PhD. So US and Canada doesn't happen. Yeah, so
I mean, it does. We cross, like, you cross into, like you're saying, you work in technically a kinesiology lab, and you're a neuroscientist. Like, we're collaborative. Yeah.
yeah, I just don't think that people from a lot of different backgrounds like that would typically be supervised by the same person, but like maybe
It depends on the research question.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe if they're like, if that's like a hot shot prof and they have like a very like sort of broad like focus.
That's true. I think I would say that you hit the nail on the head, because I know like the bigger labs in the States that I know the PIs of, they'll have someone that does just electrophysiology. That's all they do all day and all night, and they're an electrophysiologist. And then they'll have other ones that are like computer scientists and like do all of their coding and stuff like that. And then they'll have other ones that are, any other degrees of, specialties, I guess. Multidisciplinary lab discussions. Whoop boy. We are a cog neuro lab. I mean, here's the thing, like, how I guess it's a little bit lumping and splitting, but it's also like, what level are we labeling things? Because like, if you study anything to do with the brain and behavior, you're studying neuroscience / psychology, right? It's like, but then do you want to get into, is it cognitive science? Is it just cognitive psychology? Is it...
Well, then neuroscience also expands into not just the brain, but
spinal cord,
the nerves and the spinal cord. So then you're talking about all facets of anatomy.
Marco is dentistry, right?
Exactly, anatomy and physiology. So people who study pain are often anesthesiologists. They often work in dentistry and like in like the dental field, because it's just kind of goes hand in hand with like dental work, I guess.
What's NPS? PNS? Do you mean peripheral nervous system? Was that a typo? Neuropsychology, neuroscience.
I think neuropsychology is a blend between neuroscience and psych. A lot of the people who I know are trying to specialize in neuropsychology are often in like a clinical sort of space.
I would say that I'm a neuropsychologist, like a not psychologist, TM, like someone that treats someone.
It's very specific though, because there's like neuropsychological batteries. So for instance, like the Stroop test is a neuropsychological test.
Yeah.
So for those of you who don't know what the Stroop test is, it's essentially this test where it's a cognitive test where you essentially have
color word that doesn't match the
Yeah,
color.
a color word. So for instance, it's the word red, but the color of the word red is green. And you have to identify which ones are accurately matched and which ones are inaccurately matched.
Yeah. Well, but so here's the thing though, like, I mean, again, it's a matter of like how we define the terms, right? Because like I study mice neuroscience and rat neuroscience to solve human psychological issues, like human psychopathology. So, I mean, if we're using the word like in its most pure form, definitionally speaking, then maybe it is about like batteries and stuff like that. But realistically, I care a lot more about psychological phenomena than the title neuroscience gives it in a pop science sort of, like in a lay kind of understanding of it, I would say. You know what I mean? So I'm always like a little bit careful to just drop titles and assume that the meaning of it for you is the same as the meaning for me, because we are very similar people with very similar training in a lot of ways, but we have a completely different understanding of the exact same word, right? So
Yeah.
what does neuro imply? Neurons.
It's nervous system in general. Central, peripheral. So for instance, if you study like glove and stocking syndrome in chronic pain patients, in so that your pain starts in your hands and your feet, which is clearly peripheral, and moves upward, that is still that's a neuroscience concept right there.
Well, especially because the body is a system. So even if you were studying like cardio related stuff, or you know, your vestibular system, you best believe where's that shit being sent? Up here, right?
Yeah.
So it's neuroscience related at the very least. And I think that there's only so much utility in arbitrarily calling things that or not that kind of thing. Like, do we need to study direct behavior of neurons to believe it's neuroscience? No, I don't think so. I don't study the direct behavior of neurons.
Yeah.
I control ensembles sometimes at the most specificity, but I usually am silencing or activating regions.
No, yeah, nobody's studying individual neurons.
Oh, people do that. People do that.
Well, yeah, like out of like there are some people who have the specificity and the resources to do that, but it's very uncommon to do just a single neuron.
I mean, that's what like patch clamp and stuff like that is. It's just not common in stuff that we read about and care about, because it's like it's the molecular and like
because then you're getting to a cellular level and we're not really talking about that.
Yeah, but I mean, are those people doing neuroscience? Fuck yeah. Are we doing neuroscience? Also fuck yeah. Well, disease. What's a degenerative? Single neurons were more chimps. Chimpanzees? You can study single neurons in all kinds of organisms. If people do it in Drosophila, people do it in mice, people do it in rats, people do it in people. Epilepsy patients are treated with intracranial EEG, which might be the closest to human single neurons. You can do yeah. I mean,
intracranial EEG? Really?
I think, yeah, epilepsy stuff they do. I was talking, I can't actually talk about this. This is proprietary information, but I remember in lab meeting when I was telling you about the person that I had lunch with, and how they were studying something that's similar to, or dovetails nicely with what I'm studying. In terms of the lateralization of stuff, and they were talking about stimulating epilepsy patients, and
interesting.
Right? Yeah. Anyways, I can't talk about it because this is a very famous neuroscientist, and he told me about unpublished data. So, anyways. Boy, doing experimental tests on them is hard. Caught herself. I'm lucky because I'm also lucky because 12 people are watching this, so it probably wouldn't matter anyway, but still, I wouldn't want to dox that person, right? And clipped. Honestly, go ahead, clip it. This person would probably be very happy to know that I'm talking about them. So
talking about their research.
Yeah, they're a really nice person. So, yeah. I forget, what else were we going to talk about? Rats and leather jackets?
I don't know, really. Let's go back to our topics that we meant to talk about.
I mean, I like getting off topic. Fuck on topic. Who needs it? Does anybody else have any burning questions? Hot cartoon daddies. Let's circle back to hot cartoon daddies. Who else is a hot cartoon? This doesn't have the same... Oh, it does. I just am not good at leaning. I can't lean like this. I have to have a bio break.
A bio
Peter
break,
Griffin, come on.
Absolutely not. Imperfect Pixels, what are you talking about? Oh my goodness.
The accent, maybe. I don't mind Rhode Island.
The accent. She just commented on the accent of Peter Griffin. Absolutely not. 0%. The grandpa from Gravity Falls. Sausage Pudding, you have so many suggestions. I'm so curious about who you are. Grandpa Gravity Falls. Sorry, I'm going to share my screen here. It's gonna be a no for me. Can anyone comment on the symbol on this man's fez? What is it? Is he a communist? Because clearly Alicia's into communists, so.
You bought 10 Bath and Body Works soaps, and there's just some like dull ass soft soap in there.
Okay.
Why do I not get the fancy soap?
We're trying to finish the soap before we use. So sorry.
Just give me some dingy ass soap instead of
for-
fancy soap.
Yeah. So
Grandpa Gravity?
I was briefly talking about at the very beginning how my parents came to visit this weekend, and in true parent fashion, they insisted on buying me household items, and so we took a trip to Bath and Body Works because my stepmom would absolutely just live there if she could. And we got a buy 5, get 5 free deal on just hand soaps that you can put.
Is it the foamy ones?
Most of them are foamy. I think there's a couple gels in there, but yeah.
Can't believe you're withholding from me.
So, but that's the thing, is there's soap in our bathroom that we're trying to finish up first before we start using.
You put that by the kitchen sink. What's happening? Oh, sorry.
He's closing the door. But yeah, so now I just have a bag of 10 soaps and some lotions and then also a bag of just lots of different types of towels in my living room, which I need to sort and put away. And the towels are nice. They're like fluffy, a nice fluffy towel.
The winter's towels? Were they winners?
Marshalls, but same difference because it's all the same stuff.
That's true.
Yeah, we literally went from the Marshalls to the Winners, and we were like, these match. Like we're literally like comparing.
Did you go
them
to
to
Alexis
stuff.
Neon?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. I also went there with my mom.
Hilarious.
And then went to IGA. Yeah. What were you talking about while I was gone? Deep ass meaning. What?
We were talking about the grandpa from Gravity Falls. In that,
I've never even heard of
will
this
he
show.
make the daddy list? I do not think he will make the daddy list, but there's a symbol on his hat which I am deeply confused about what it is.
It looks like a Pac-Man fish,
and
but also vaguely Soviet.
that's what I was saying. It's clearly
It's like it got a hammer and
it's
sickle kind of
vaguely- I was
vibe,
gonna
but
say-
it's also, is it a fez?
It's vaguely communist on a fez, and I was like, clearly you find that attractive
It's
since you're into
Turkish?
communists. So
I'm not into communists. I don't even think I've ever met a communist. Most of the things that I think about actual communes are not ideal.
sorry, we haven't met communists? I thought we went to a Marxist meeting.
I lied. That
We
was a
met-
lie. We went
met
to a
some-
Marxist socialist group meeting that were like, okay, so I had this former lab mate in the lab that I worked in before I switched into the lab that Layla and I currently are in together, and there was this fellow named Chase, and he's like a diehard socialist. He's a really nice person.
Marxist socialism, so we're talking like
Yeah.
old school, yeah.
Yeah. So he was like, guys, why don't you come to this thing? And we were like, okay. And then we went to this meeting, and it was just this guy kind of like orating about stuff for like an hour and a half straight, and we were like, relax, please.
So there was like a moderator, and then it was just like a lot of white dudes just getting up and talking about ideas for socialism and like, don't get me wrong, I am like very socially liberal and I believe in like a lot of socialist ideas, but it was
It's just not the
it
right
was-
way to disseminate that information, you know?
It
Like,
was
no
just
one wants to
very-
listen to...
It was like just
I felt like we were like back in ancient Greece, and it was just a lot of people talking, and like I was just very confused about where it was going. And then after that, we all went to a bar, and then got hit on by a bunch of sort of
Comrades.
men, people who call each other comrades, and then they had beers down to here, and it was like very stressful.
Well, and I called them comrades kind of jokingly. They did not like that. They did not like that. They were very bummed that I thought that that was a little bit tongue-in-cheek worthy, because they actually call themselves like brother and sister and comrade. And I'm like, ease up, you know?
Yeah, it was definitely an interesting experience. I'm glad I went. Would I ever go again?
These
No,
are
I
also
don't think
our schoolmates, right? Lots of them were people that we actually know, and we went together because we just, at the time, really liked to party.
That's true.
So we were like, yeah, beers? You're going to Brewtopia? That's like one of my favorite places. It's across the street from the bar that my boyfriend works at. So, my boyfriend at the time. But yeah. Anyways, that's why we went. You want to know who doesn't buy girls' beers, though? Communists. They're like, you're on your own, pal.
They're
So,
like, everybody's equal.
brats.
You gotta buy your own. Yeah, that was actually. I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember being deeply
I know
upset.
well, because they're hitting on you actively, and you're like, okay, well, at least I get a score of free beer. Nice. But, no, just have to listen to them drone on endlessly about themselves and never ask you a single fucking question. You don't even have, your beer's dry, and you're just like, I'm dying of thirst, yet I haven't said a word in 10 fucking minutes. Anyways, that's the way that goes, so. Capitalism rules.
Disagree, but
Capitalism is
sausage
rules.
pudding. It's called Brewtopia. Brutopia. But yeah, put their name in whichever place in the paper they did.
As everyone who participates
Deserves first authorship.
That would be, honestly, that would be kind of fucking funny.
How many co-first authors can you have?
I think you can have unlimited depending on the journal, but like, at what point does it matter? Honestly, if you're not first, doesn't matter. Co-authorship only matters on a CV. Like,
Just
I've been one of 3 co-firsts, and because my last name is near the end of the alphabet, I get shafted.
Well, just hope that you have like an A last name essentially, or
Yeah.
B or C.
Or just insist on first authorship and be cagey, you know?
Shit's political tonight. Yeah,
Shit's
we were
political.
talking about Jordan Peterson earlier. Now we're
To be
we're
fair,
shitting on
we-
the communists.
Listen, to be fair, we have swung wildly from me talking about having worked at the strippers and other,
this is true.
various vulgarities that we began with, and now we've circled back into the nitty-gritty. Glad I missed that. Jordan Peter Griffin. Oh, no. Where do we go?
No, Peter Griffin.
Andrew Tate's band. I refuse. There's just nothing to discuss there. There's just nothing to
Yeah.
discuss.
Like, who attacks a child online and gets away with it? I think
Who
not.
traffics humans in real life? And
I actually only heard about him getting arrested, and I never followed up on that story. Is there more? What's the update on that?
I think he's out. Nothing more political than some stripper talk. First job ever. Your first job was a stripper? Sausage pudding? That guy's a fool. He's in jail. He's still in. Isn't he tweeting, though? How's he tweeting? How's he doing that? Proxy
Tech
tweets.
support just said he's out, apparently.
He's out. Tech support said he's out. Or they're holding him. Anyways. Oh, he's not out. Prisoners tweet. Or is he out? Honestly, I don't really care. I want him to not be part of my news cycle ever. Again, in my entire existence. No. It's a no for me. He's the anti-daddy.
Yeah.
He's a cockroach. I know he went to the doc and had a bad result. Grept the facts.
Go back to the facts.
I mean, realistically, those are facts that just don't need to be in my repertoire at all. What was the tropes thing that you were going to talk about? What's tropes?
It was just talking about, like, why women like a specific, like, the sexual tropes, yeah. We already chatted about that.
Yeah, tropes. Yeah. I don't know.
Even, honestly, we talked about why women like bad boys. In a previous stream, we have talked about the fact that
mice also like bad boys. Or was it mice or rats?
I think it was rats. The Jim Faust study. I think we talked about it in the last. I'm gonna look it up because we didn't put the. Hold on, I'll find it while I'm not.
So essentially, in summary, there is a study that was done. I want to say at Concordia, but I might be wrong about this.
I think it was at Concordia.
In Montreal, in that they put mice in little leather jackets.
It's actually a Long Evans rat.
Sorry, rats in little leather jackets to see if female rats were interested in them.
This is the leather jacket in question.
And they, in fact, were. So leather jackets make male rats sexier. Because even female rats like bad boys, apparently.
Or backpacks for science. Stop.
No.
I want to find the original actual study. Okay, so yeah, I think I explained this a little bit when we first were talking about it, but it's a Pavlovian cue that they're going to get down and dirty. Sex boost brain.
No.
Why is this happening?
Go to females were more sexually interested. Sexually receptive female rats.
I just want the actual fucking paper. I could just... How to get pregnant.
Great.
Tips and facts to
We
increase...
love that. I know.
Everything's going really well here on the
This
Funny
is
Farm.
Funny farm.
Anyways, I'm just going to go to Jim Faust's Rats Leather Jackets
Yeah.
In Google Scholar. Stop.
Somatic sensory conditioning? No.
Skula. That's how you spell that, for sure.
Totes.
There we go. Somatosensory conditioning of sexual arousal and copulatory behavior in the male rat, a model of fetish development. And yeah, Jim Faust was...
Can we talk about how much more boring journal articles are compared to like IFL science?
But that's the thing, is they sensationalize it and they misreport it, right? You know what I mean? Like,
But there's no pictures.
What's so attractive about bikers? Nothing. Have you ever met one? Have you ever smelled one? Jesus. I mean, like a hard ass, like a Hell's Angel style biker, not just like someone that casually likes motorcycles. Lots of people probably smell lovely. Science is all worth it if this is the result. So I have a rat with a leather jacket on me. Will I be more sexy to women? Depends on the woman. But I mean, if a man approached me with a rat, I'd probably find them weird. But also I would want to meet
rats.
Wait till the end of the second sentence. I would also be very interested in meeting that rat. So there would be some cognitive dissonance there. But anybody that thinks it's appropriate to approach you with a small creature on them is probably not great. Let's just like cruise this abstract. Olfactory cues are conditioned stimuli. So the jacket's a conditioned stimulus that teaches the other rat that they gonna fuck. So then they're like, sick. If they see a different rat in a leather jacket, they're gonna be like, sweet.
However, significantly fewer rats trained with the jacket on, but tested with the jacket off, copulated to ejaculation. And those that did made significantly fewer anticipatory level changes and had fewer significantly longer mount, intromission, and ejaculatory latencies and fewer ejaculations. Okay, so they had the jacket on, they felt good, and then they took the jacket off, and then they had less sex, essentially.
Yeah.
Sexual behaviors.
Mm-hmm. In a second experiment, one group of sexually naive males was given differential conditioning in bi-level chambers to associate the jacket with sexual reward and the jacket off with sexual inhibition, thwarted copulatory attempts a Friday night, am I right? With a sexually non-receptive female. Hilarious. Love that for them. A second group had the opposite order of association. With receptive females was made for all males with a jacket on. Males trained to associate the jacket with excitation displayed normal copulation, whereas male trained to associate the jacket with inhibition displayed significantly fewer. Okay, so the rats that associated the jacket with getting shot down didn't shoot their future shots as much. That's what that means. That's what that means. So, don't get conditioned. Shoot your shots when you have them, y'all. It's a tricked out mouse wheel. And a tricked out mouse wheel. Keeps exaggerating the results and selling them pretty for you to click. Get owned. Honestly, Remy from Ratatouille rules. First of all, counterbalanced. I presume that it was appropriately counterbalanced. What journal is this in? Physiology and Behavior? Yeesh.
For mice? That's weird. It's a strange option. Impact factor?
View all insight. Publishing charges $3,000. Anyways, impact factor, I'm guessing 3. Let's see. Physiology and behavior impact factor. Impact factor is kind of bullshit. 3.2. Boom.
Pixar should remake Grease with mice. Honestly, dramatic. Dramatic. Well, it could be Grease lightning, and then it's just mice or rats dancing.
That would be the only thing that would entice me to watch it, is if it was mice or rats, because I
like
really
John Travolta mouse. Could you imagine? Young John Travolta mouse. Ugh.
Does anybody remember the movie Rock-a-Doodle? It was a chicken that was like Elvis. He was kind of daddy.
Absolutely not.
I'm gonna show you guys Rock-a-Doodle. Because I just heard the plot. Yes. Okay, I'm gonna show you guys Rock-a-Doodle. Hold on.
John Tremausla. I'm obsessed. Is this oh my god.
Okay, he's Elvis. He's not daddy. I lied. I remembered it differently.
What?
But there's also, look at this. Look at the sexy girl chicken. And look at this evil owl. Oh, we're not sharing. Hold on. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Okay. So, yeah, it's an Elvis chicken and a little raccoon kid or a cat or something.
Wait,
like
is this
that.
made by the same people who made Fievel?
Yeah, it sure is, buddy.
Mikey.
You fucking know it. Anyways, look at this, like, sexy chicken girl. She gives you big Jessica Rabbit vibes.
I was gonna say Jessica Rabbit, yeah.
Jessica Chicken.
But Jessica Chicken.
Jessica Chicken. Jessica the hen. I can't remember her name, but she's actually kind of, spoiler alert for this 1991 movie, she's with the bad guys. Femme fatale. Actually, no, she's kind of been tricked into being with the bad guys. And in case you couldn't tell by the design here, this is the bad guy.
Oh, really? What? With his
World of Wonder, with
red
this
and black
huge cape.
Can we talk about the fact that the dog is almost the exact same dog, top left?
From All Dogs Go to Heaven?
Yeah, All Dogs Go to Heaven, or The Great Mouse Detective. It looks very, very similar.
Toby.
Toby
Sit.
Yes.
I also love that movie. Holy shit, I love all movies to do with rats and mice. I'm every time I think about a new movie or someone mentions it, and I'm like, oh yeah, that was one of my favorite ones as a kid. Anyways. Oh Lord, An American Tail. I remember this, though I don't remember seeing it. Honestly, I know him total dad bod. I remembered a daddy. Yeah, see, I remembered a daddy too, but that man's not daddy. But I don't like that. He's got a little, just a look that isn't for me. It's just not for me. It's just not for me. Somatosensory conditioning, a model of fetish development.
The guy. Which guy?
Fieri?
From the Disney movie Excalibur. Why is that not ringing a bell? Okay, we gotta look it up.
That does look like the Great Owl from The Secret of Nim a little bit, but the Great Owl from The Secret of Nim is significantly creepier. Just saying.
Can you look up
what is it? Excalibur? Excalibur, what, blind guy? Blind guy.
Are we talking Quest for Camelot? Because
I don't know.
Your face, Alicia. I do remember enjoying this movie, and as a child finding this man hot. I am not deeply interested in
It's giving Jon Snow colonizes Pocahontas's.
Yeah, I was gonna say that John Smith, Jon Snow.
Oh, whatever. Jon Snow's hot, but also kind of a whiny baby, so
I
he's
do
not
admit
daddy
his
either.
singing voice is quite raspy, and I do remember as a child enjoying it a
I've
lot.
never seen this in my entire life.
But
I talked about Once Upon a Forest in my previous stream, this movie.
yeah.
Anyways.
But I do not think that our quest for Camelot.
Why does he have bangs? What's going on with the bangs?
As a child, he probably was daddy. I agree. Is Henry Cavill daddy? Ooh.
I think he's daddy.
Are we adding Henry Cavill to the daddy
We can't just indiscriminately add anybody to the daddy list.
Why is it in caps lock?
You know nothing, John Smith. Zoinks. Yeah, no, I don't think he's old enough. He doesn't radiate. He has too much roguish immaturity to be daddy, I think. Then again, Pedro Pascal kind of has that too, but he also has like the I'll protect you kind of thing. Whereas like Henry Cavill, I feel like he's too much of a loose cannon. Is Johnny Depp daddy? We're not talking about this. No.
You're like, absolutely not. What the hell is this from? Oh, this is from Superman. I could just
You want to know
I
who
could honestly
I
scroll
think
through
is
this all
daddy?
day. Holy shit.
Is Tom Hardy. That man likes puppies. But I don't think he's daddy. He's not daddy. He's just hot. What does it mean to be a daddy? Can we just click here?
What is this? What is happening?
That's the anti-daddy.
Yeah, absolutely not. I can't even look at this any further.
Phil from Modern Family. Oh, you want to know who's mega smoking hot? Jonathan Hamm. Hamm the man. John Hamm? You don't think John Hamm is hot? Are you too young?
I think
Am I old?
I saw
Oh,
him
no.
in. I did not watch him in
Oh.
Mad Men. I watched him in
Bridesmaids. That'll
and
turn you
he-
right off. Yeah.
It was not the move.
Warhammer figurines. Julian Edelman.
Wait, Edelman as in like...
Yes. The football player.
Yeah, from Patriots, no?
Yeah, I mean, he's retired now, but he's not daddy. He's just hot. Him and Danny Amendola.
Oh, I would disagree. I think he's definitely in daddy territory.
He is a father, so that's his sports.
Wait, have we not
Illustrated.
been showing them our...
We switched. Vince Vaughn, no.
Sorry, no Vince Vaughn.
Yeah, Julian Edelman is hot, but you want to know who's hotter? Danny Amendola. Check this out. This guy right here. Gronk, not so much.
Gronk's not got it, unfortunately.
I mean, he's charming and he's very talented and whatnot, but, you know, just not for me. Danny Amendola, though, all day long. Look at him. The Italian stallion? Oh, my. Yep. We'll just close that now. That's Toy Boy.
That's
Sure.
Toy boy. That's a toy boy.
Yeah, exactly, which is why we have to distinguish what's daddy and what's hot. Well, we don't have to distinguish what's hot. Hot is hot. But, like,
Yeah.
what is daddy?
What is daddy? I think daddy is like hot, but then there's a little bit of...
It's like a protection
I think
thing.
the facial hair is very key. Absolutely. Like one. And then I think from there...
Oscar Isaac is daddy. Oscar Isaac is daddy. Oscar Isaac is daddy.
I'm not...
I refuse to.
No, I guess if Pedro Pascal is daddy, then Oscar Isaac maybe as well.
Oscar Isaac is one of the hottest
Oscar
men.
the
Look at this man.
Yeah, he's got some gray going on. You know, okay.
Excuse me.
Wow.
He's so attractive. Sorry, I'm not even going to share that screen. It's too spicy. No, I'm kidding. Look at that.
You gotta go back to the beard one we just had.
Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd's too funny. The daddy needs to be a little serious. And I think that the reason Pedro Pascal has edged into daddy territory is because of The Last of Us. Because he's kind of playing like a bit of a daddy role. Have you watched it yet? Jesus Christ. You.
I would
Yeah.
unfortunately have to seek it out via illicit sources, so I am unsure how long it will take me to do so.
Daddy's was raise kids. Layla's dad is daddy. Okay, honestly, I've seen pictures of your dad, and your dad's not daddy.
So here's a funny story, is that my older sister wants to be social media famous, and she did a TikTok. She did many TikToks, and then she did a TikTok of my dad preparing for his housewarming party in summer 2021. And that was her first video to go viral, and 30 to 60% of the comments were, "Your dad's hot. Is your dad single? Your dad is so attractive." I do have to admit, I got a lot of my good genes from my father. So, like...
You're hot.
Thanks. I know that I recognize that my dad is hot, but at the same time, it's my dad. I'm like, please don't say that to me.
That's true.
Yeah. There's a lot of people who are like, yeah.
Daddy or just
It's
in
in
the
the
zeitgeist. I'm a straight man, that dude is fine. Yeah. You know, you can be straight and just know when other people are attractive.
Agreed.
You can just, if you got eyes, even ears, honestly, sometimes voices will do it. That's the whole thing of ASMR, hey? You know, if it's triggered by a voice, but yeah. Daddy. Clip it. No, don't clip it.
Please don't clip it.
Please don't clip it. Yeah, Oscar, I need to take Oscar Isaac off the screen, or that's all I'll look at.
Getting
Let's
a
go
little
back.
distracted.
Somatosensory cortical. Is there a daddy voice now? I think we already determined that there was a little bit of an ASMR kind of vibe last time when Layla started talking about Chuck Me Daddy Biscuits 20 minutes into the first stream, which I love.
So, is there anyone we're officially... Are we holding off on adding anyone to the daddy list, or we're going to have to wait it out? Or
I think the daddy has to come to us organically.
I agree.
I don't think we can... You can't force the daddy. You can't force the
daddy.
You can't force the daddy. Rick Sanchez. Not a big fan.
From Rick and Morty, Rick Sanchez?
Is that the science man?
I
don't like that.
question mark? Yes, from Rick and Morty, Rick Sanchez. Absolutely not. Moving on.
I wouldn't even...
Grim Reaper from Bill and Mandy, that is a literal skull. Absolutely not. Not even with all of his knowledge. He is literally a cartoon interpretation of Doc from Back to the Future. Are you kidding me right now?
Yeah, Christopher Lloyd
Are
is
you saying
not daddy.
Yeah, is Christopher Lloyd daddy? Absolutely not.
Also, look at the man. Look at his teeth. They look like he's about to get veneers and stopped midway.
Yeah.
I hate that. Get that away.
He literally has a acid reflux issue. What are we talking about?
Just want a bone. Yeah, the daddy is about the vibe, but it's also about the look. Let's not,
The look is super important to these two women on this stream right now.
Don't labor under any misapprehensions that we are looking for depth in our daddies. Okay?
We were both on the edge for Henry Cavill, okay?
Yeah.
This man built a computer during the pandemic, and we all watched very intently.
Did we?
I did.
I didn't know that happened. The Lion King? Simba or Mufasa?
Mufasa, clearly.
No, I don't think he's daddy. He gives me too much like of a like all-knowing, omniscient God type.
The voice is quite soothing.
The voice is soothing. Mufasa, clearly. Okay, listen, Jonathan Taylor Thomas was the voice of Simba, and that man was a sex symbol. So just I left for dinner and came back to daddy issues. It's not daddy issues. Well, I guess it is. It's the daddy list issues.
Daddy list issues.
He's too smart. Who's too smart?
We're talking about Rick Sanchez, I think, or Doc.
I've never watched a single episode of Rick and Morty. That doesn't strike me as something that I would enjoy.
What other topics did we actually want to talk about before this stream ends today?
Girl, I don't know.
We hit on a lot of them.
What do you guys want to talk about? Other than daddies? I mean, we can keep talking about
We
daddies.
can keep talking about daddies if that's the vibe, but
You can't bring in a second one when we haven't done the first one. What's happening to you?
okay, so we're doing them together. Clearly,
I'm not doing it. I won't. You have to do it. Yeah. They're doing shots.
Are you okay? Then you have to come on screen. I'm not doing this by myself. Tech support.
Tech support. It's not a throuple if there's not three of us.
Yeah, so we need a third shot. Is what you're telling me? Cheers to the daddy list.
Cheers, comrades.
To the comrades. To the daddy list.
That's smooth.
Finally, the Maud cameo. I mean, he's made father of Tommy Pickles from Rugrats. Sausage pudding. Have you considered therapy? Because you're picking some pretty wild things.
Honestly, you're just picking dads specifically.
That's true, which is... You don't need to be a dad to be a daddy.
I was gonna say, there's no...
Is tech support in the daddy list? Abstain. Abstain. I plead the fifth.
Like...
I can't be attracted to my best friend's husband.
I was gonna say tech support's on the daddy list in the bedroom, but like in real life, that's up to the general public, I must say.
Getting lit on Monday night. Oh damn. Slay tech support. All right, tech support. Yeah. I can't remember what I was gonna say about something else before tech support came.
We're talking about Henry Cavill?
Yeah, I guess so.
I can't remember now.
So, okay, I was of the age when Twilight came out that, like, people were doing, like, fantasy casting when the movie got announced, and Henry Cavill was one of the suggestions for one of them. I can't remember.
Honestly, 50 Shades, Henry Cavill or Matt Bomer, because they're, like, look like brothers.
Matt Bomer is
so hot, but very gay. You know what I mean? So
that's why he's so hot.
Yeah. Well,
Not because I'm attracted to gay guys, but because if you take Henry Cavill and you make him gay, you get Matt Bomer.
Exactly. They look very similar.
Yeah.
So I was going to say Henry Cavill would have been perfect Christian Grey, but unfortunately.
Did y'all enjoy 50 Shades? I never read it or watched it. I like porn.
I was going to say, I read the book as a teenager, and then my Muslim father told me that was not okay. So there was a whole thing about that. But then I watched the films and was deeply unimpressed, honestly.
It doesn't entice me. I do like that it like kind of destigmatized kink though. You know, good for them.
A little, yeah. I think it kind of normalized kink a bit more, which is has its value, you know.
I thought that was going to be way more interesting. Yeah, sorry, I don't know. Maybe, but their kink was like super soft. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, they like used the tie on her wrist and they're like, "We're having sex," and that was it. It was very.
That's it. That's the only.
Yeah, it's not like, we're not talking like fetish suits.
I thought he had a closet full of stuff. What kind of stuff has he got in there? Just like, pillows?
But like, everybody gets a pillow.
I'm leaving the stream.
Sorry.
You realize that I'm never going to be able to do the thing with the person if that's the thing.
So...
Never mind, don't...
No, I'm just going to give a very general context. So one of our friends explained this. At Cottage Weekend, we played this game called Truth or Drink. And during this game, we talked about... Essentially, it was like like somebody has to ask somebody a question, and they can either choose to answer truthfully, or they can drink. And so this person got asked what their favorite position was. And they referred to this position as lazy doggy. In that everybody gets a pillow, and it's become my favorite catchphrase since then. It is not doggy at all.
It's spoon sex.
It's spoon sex, where everybody gets a pillow, but it is the funniest thing.
Prone bone?
Prone bone. It is my favorite thing since then is like everybody gets a pillow.
Okay, honestly, love the equity. You know,
the equity is high.
Love that. You know, I do like a pillow. I hate it when I don't have a pillow and I want a pillow, but that's not my highest priority when I'm doing such a thing. You know, I'm not worried about neck support.
Yeah, but I don't think the pillow's going under your neck typically.
In this situation where everybody gets a pillow, surely it would be. Everybody gets a pillow. Spoon sex? Because you're laying on your side. Everybody gets a pillow. Where else would you put it during spoon sex? You wouldn't put it anywhere else. I know where the pillow goes in other situations, just not in spoon sex.
I don't know.
It's for your head. It's for your head. Draw it.
No.
Layla.
I'm not drawing
It's
this.
for your head.
It's not.
Where is it for? Spoon sex. You know, we're talking about the same thing.
Keep in mind that we have friends of different sizes, therefore individuals might have to support different parts of their bodies to fit together.
That's not what the pillow
more
is for.
closely.
I'm gonna check.
What are you gonna search lazy doggy on Google? Like
No,
what?
I'm gonna go to the source. I'm gonna ask the person that said this whether they meant a pillow for your
Where
head
does
or a
the-
pillow for your body.
Where does the pillow go?
Where does the pillow go? Some folks need various pillows to avoid pains. Yeah, I'm not pillow shaming. I'm not. I just think, if anything, I'm pillow encouraging. Get a fucking full-blown sex swing. If it keeps your back and your spine healthy,
High key.
you know what? Yeah. The more, increase your mobility. Do your stretches. Do your cars. Pillow goes gently beneath your booty. Okay, in a different position. Not in side-by-side spoon sex. You wouldn't put it beneath your booty. Surely that would throw things out of alignment in that position.
But I think if the male is quite
Why?
tall and wide, and then the girl is quite small, maybe
I don't want to.
explore that concept.
No, I do want to explore that concept. We won't go there. Do not demonstrate on that couch. Thank you.
Thanks, Mom.
Thanks, tech support. Just like you would.
Oh,
would
between
tilt.
the legs.
I said that, but I still don't think that that's it. I think it's just for your head. I think it's called lazy doggy because it's supposed to be comfortable. Like, oh, I'm about to have a nap, but I'm also having sex. It's gotta be.
Maybe if the girl is like a super hourglass shape, it supports her like mid body, like because.
I think the obvious answer is that it's for your head.
I disagree. I just can't imagine because it's like, why does everyone get a pillow so they can lay their heads on it?
Yeah.
So you
Think of the source. Think of the source.
So you can sleep in the middle of sex. Like I don't understand.
Again, think of the source.
Okay. You know what?
Yeah. Listen, I'm not a pillow hater. I'm a pillow lover. Do you know how many pillows I have on my bed?
Too many.
6. 6 and one of them is a body pillow almost as big as me.
All the ones that your dog wants to cuddle up on.
Yes. The sex is bad if you snoozing. Well, you don't stay snoozing for long if you're doing it right. It's a little wake up. Good times. Morning times. And you don't need pillows for that. You can have pillows for that. I like a little pillow haven, you know? Pillows everywhere. At various times. Or if it's a fuckathon, naps matter. Whoa. We went from 0 to 60.
It's true.
I don't know that...
If you're gonna have sex for like 3 or 4 hours, you need to have breaks.
Listen,
in
I have a
between.
lumbar pillow right now. I'm pro pillow, okay? The proof is in the pillow pudding.
The proof is in the pillow.
The proof is in the pillow. This is very scientific, enhances orgasms. Listen, that's true because here's the thing. If you angle things, this is also why women have stronger orgasms when they have a full bladder. Because the bladder puts pressure on your vaginal canal, which makes it so that it's feels more intense, especially on your G-spot, and that's why certain positions are better, and why propping it up with a pillow is also better. Those are facts. Yep.
The squirting is a lie. So there's actually some evidence against and for, and so there's some evidence for the fact that like individuals who are stimulated intensely and they have a full bladder actually are just, when they squirt, they are like releasing urine essentially, and maybe it is part of their sexual climax. Like, you know, the female body is a mystery in a lot of ways. But also there is actually a female prostate, which is actually just around the urethra. And this contains a type of fluid that is quite, I don't know how to describe that, like thick, I would say. And it actually, if you stimulate that prostate area, it releases this fluid. So there is 2 types of quote unquote squirting. One is urine, and
You
one
also
is
have
just
Bartholin glands, which make you wet.
Exactly. So there's There is like different types of squirting, and one of them is like just sexual material, and the other one is urine, and then again, obviously, there's just general like lubrication as well.
It's all in there. And honestly, it doesn't matter what it is, as long as you're having a good time and your partner is too. Fucking gangbusters, who gives a fuck, right? Oddly, in men, that's completely cut off.
Yeah, that's true, actually. So when
it's
men
a clued.
when men become sexually aroused, their bladder, there's like a certain part.
It's like a little valve.
Yeah, they're exactly. Their tissue that like pushes down so far that their urethral stream is cut off, so like they cannot pee.
They come from the same hole that they pee out of.
Yeah. Exactly.
And also that's why you get morning wood, boys, because you gotta pee.
Tea.
Got a boner, no pee-pee coming through. Pee-pee gang. Anyone here remember pee-pee gang? You weren't here for pee-pee gang, were you? Waterproof sheets in the evolution that is. I got a targeted like TikTok ad or something like that for like a blanket that's waterproof. It's like like the blankets that you use on like a picnic so that the grass doesn't get wet through the thing. But the top is like nice and soft. And part of their ad campaign was that it looks nicer. And they had like different patterns. They're like, this one is like a monstera, like it had plants on it kind of thing. They're like, ugh, jungle. And I'm just like, is that really a concern for people?
They want it to be aesthetic still.
The evolution is likely fascinating. Put no pee-pee inside lady parts. That's true.
Tea.
Not being able to pee, LOL, post, and being part of pee-pee gang.
Honestly, there's like, I do not remember where I saw this. I think it was like a compilation of like Yahoo Ask or whatever the fuck used to be.
Quora or whatever. Like,
well, yeah, pre-Quora. Like, yeah, it was like
Ask.
back in like the mid-early 2000s. And it was like...
Yahoo Answers, that's what it was.
Yeah, it was like, am I pregnant? And then like also like, if I pee inside her, will she die? And it's like, no, she's not gonna die, but like, don't pee inside her, clearly.
You don't want to put things up there. Ask Jeeves. I was gonna say Ask Jeeves as well, but I didn't want to out myself as that age. LOL, right? It takes a while for that valve to open back up. I mean, sucks to suck, boys. You're on top of the world in every other frame of life. So yeah, I think
I'm sorry that you have to lay down on the toilet to take a pee while you have a boner. I apologize.
Yeah. I don't apologize. That was before Reddit. Yeah. I mean, it is kind of nice though, because I think like if I don't have one, so I don't know. Mm-hmm. But I think if you pinch the dick, you can stop peeing. And, like you can mechanically like close things up.
Oh yeah, maybe. Like if you just
can.
Well,
I think
soft,
you'd have to gorilla grip it, I presume, if you were like midstream. But undying respect. I'll take external genitalia over being marginalized. Yup.
Yeah, I was gonna say the ability to pee outside is also extremely valuable to the male sex.
You can pee outside. It's just a lot more involved.
It's not easy nor
pleasant.
Remember
at Pride when there was no bathrooms and I peed behind a pink dumpster? That's a fun fact.
I don't remember that.
It happened. I was happy that the dumpster was pink and that I had napkins in my purse. You can stop them from ejaculating too, yeah. If you're not trying to make a mess. I mean, yeah, guys, this is vulgar science to a T. This is the type of content.
We're epitomizing vulgar science right now.
I mean, at least we're being scientific. We're talking about valves, the vas deferens. We're using anatomical nomenclature. That's the way she goes. And you know what? Shouldn't be shame around talking about sex. You know, it shouldn't be considered vulgar to talk about that part of your body, but not vulgar to talk about this part of your body or this part of your body or whatever, right? But shame is a thing. Men can too, we just don't. Neither. Yeah. I was thinking about something and then I completely lost my train of thought because that's just the way. I wish that there was a way that you could train not losing your train of thought. Like practice to not lose your train of thought. And I've looked it up and there's not really. But it sucks to suck. I did talk about memory remember someone was asking about memory on like a previous stream. But, and then I talked about the memory strategies. I think that was one of the things that we were supposed to talk about.
Do you want to add that to the content for the next stream?
Well, no, because I've already talked about it.
Oh,
Right. Y'all, what do you want us to talk about next? Vulgar science. What's the
Yeah.
next vulgar thing we should talk about? Because, I mean, we could talk about peepees all day here at the Peepee Gang. But
PB game.
we'd like to diversify. Diversify? Diversify, right? That's the right word. We'd like to diversify the vulgar portfolio.
What about when you need a word and it just doesn't exist in the moment?
Oh, that's like tip of your tongue phenomena. There's a name for it. I can't remember what it's called, but there is a name for it, and it's, yeah. Probably happens less to you essay writing folk.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe.
Yeah. I usually just go to
Dive into sex differences. Sex differences of what, though? That's a really
Yeah,
broad
so
category.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess tip of your tongue phenomena doesn't happen to me super lots.
I feel for me, like I will eventually get to the word that I'm looking for by just going on like synonyms. I'll like search like thesaurus.com and like find what I mean.
Sometimes I get really like obstinate, like if I'm trying to think of an actor or something like that, and I'm like, oh, don't tell me what's his name. Oh, he's in, and I can never remember. Like I'll be like, do not tell me, and I'll wait like 3 hours, and then I'll be like, this person, and I'll feel so good. Like it's happened to me a lot of the times. And it's kind of fun. I like the like brain puzzle of it, which I guess is a little bit of like, you know, maybe that's what's wrong with my brain is I'm like, nothing can be easy.
You like the brain puzzle?
Yeah, I do like a brain puzzle. I like doing the New York Times crossword and failing at it every time. Actually, I can do the Mondays, Tuesdays, and usually the Wednesdays. Anomia, there we go. Nice. Thank you, sausage pudding. Then you text the person you were talking to hours previously. Usually it's when I'm hanging out with my best friend back home, Carly, and we're talking about we're like, what about the guy in the thing? And because we've known each other for so long, been best friends for 30 years, we'll know what each other's talking about, but we'll be like, what's his name? And then she'll be like, I don't know. And then we'll be both sitting there and it kind of becomes a little bit of a competition, but also we're both really stoked when we finally get to it. And it's just, it's a real good time.
Sausage pudding, you should have been here last chat. We did an entire chat GPT talk where we talked about how I can't fucking talk. Chat GPT has affected the fact that like how people write emails, how people can essentially produce like almost entire essays at this point about certain topics.
This is really, yes. Okay. Yeah. I'm glad that we're talking about this because I found out that people that make ChatGPT, like OpenAI or whatever it is, also make something called Codex, where you can use lay nomenclature to tell it to write a code that I think is designed primarily for Python, but you can also take existing code from like R or JavaScript or whatever and have it translated into a different coding language. I don't know how effective it is. There's a lot of descriptions. It's apparently only in beta, but to me, I was like, that's boss, because I've always wanted that exact thing to be the case. And if that's the case, then that kind of takes the coding, you know, like the big gap where it's like, oh, I'm old guard. I'm never going to be a coder, you know, which is how I feel.
Yeah.
And it makes it so, like, you know, I mean, I can code a little bit, but, like, not like an
enough.
actual,
Yeah.
like, I would never call myself a coder. Driving me fucking nuts. Sometimes my anomia. Well, lazy people. Yeah, chill, don't worry. I am not that interested on it. Basically, what everyone has been talking about 24/7 for the last month. I fired my coworker after that in an email. After what?
Using ChatGPT for an email.
It's as effective as the original code. Is it? Have you used it in Perfect Pixels? The Codex thing? Can ChatGPT do that too? Yeah, lots of devs have even started using ChatGPT to help them out. Honestly, a tool is only as evil as the person using it in an evil way, right? Like, you know, the internet is a repository of like so much information, and the ability to communicate in a forum like this, which is, I think, really cool. I think that's amazing. But it's also a place where you can sell human organs. So And everything in between, and the Rule 34 or whatever that we learned about today.
Yeah, exactly.
He lost his job because of this. And it will be used that way. What? But I'm not that person. It'll be really useful. I mean, yeah, I plan to use it, and I don't think that there's any, for me personally, and I have like kind of maybe a different, everyone has different ethical sets, but I don't think that ChatGPT and using it is that big of a deal unless you're claiming something to be your own original thing, knowing that it's not. I mean, realistically, when we're doing, literature searches and conglomerating a whole bunch of stuff, we're using other people's ideas and we just appropriately cite them and don't plagiarize, right?
Yeah.
The only thing with that is you can't tell where they got each piece of information. So that's where some ethical concerns come in for me.
And I think that, like, also it can do, like, a relatively, it's like, what is common knowledge, what is on Wikipedia, etc. But, like, if you're looking for, like, very specific concepts, for instance, like, what are the cardiovascular effects of, polycystic ovarian syndrome or something like that, like, very, very specific information, it is actually very difficult to find that via ChatGPT. It's like it will only give you what is like generally known, and it's not going to obviously do like a full-on Google Scholar search for you. So
yeah, and I mean, again, a tool's a tool. Like there was a time when people were like, oh, it's unfair that kids get to use calculators these days. And now we get to do more sophisticated math better, faster, cooler, more efficiently. So, like, why the fuck would we turn our noses up at that? You know what I mean?
Like, how many people have literally sat and told us, like, so many of the millennial generation and early Gen Z, that they're not going to have a calculator in their pocket. And then, like, we literally do have a calculator in our pocket. And they're like, okay, now you need to learn how to write cursive, or you need these skills, and like there's so many, like it's just part of life, and like we will adapt to it eventually.
So we're going to be shit at writing. Do you mean shit at like actually like writing, like your characters are going to be illegible, or we're not going to be able to
that type of stuff, probably.
to compose? It meshes the papers and cites papers that don't exist. You can see the text, go to the citation, and in most cases, if the citation exists, it's not what the ChatGPT says. Well, the onus is on the person that, yeah, exactly. If they're going to cheat, Well, like, yeah, exactly. I've known people that plagiarize and do copy pastes and stuff like that, or like only change little things and got kicked out of school, and rightfully so. I mean, like, you have to know what's acceptable and what's not, right? I don't know. And if you're gonna use a tool, use it
wisely.
Yeah. That's I'm already bad. It looks like hieroglyphics. Listen, people had that concern when we stopped doing cursive, and it's just not a thing. Like, it just...
Or as we said before, when people started using emojis, they're like, oh, are we going to just be talking in pictures now? Like, we're going to move into hieroglyphics? And no, it's like, it's interesting because emojis are their own language, and they've evolved. So, for instance... where's our little crying face emoji pillow, which is fully hidden by the mic. I got this in my second year of university because that was the emoji that I most commonly used, and now that is considered quote unquote chuggy by Zoomers, in that they only use it ironically. They do not use that emoji like in a to mean like actual crying, laughing. They only use like normal laughing emojis. So,
or the skull emoji.
Or the skull emoji to me, yeah. Well, even that sometimes means different things for millennials and for Zoomers. Like, like dead, like dead laughing, or just like actual like dead sad. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. There's a lot of different interpretations.
But also, like, I don't know. Our writing was just characters at some point too, and like language changes. That's like a fundamental historical, anthropological, fact. And why are we trying to act like it hasn't been happening continuously since the dawn of time? As if we didn't already use pictures, and if our, Roman alphabet isn't just derived from like hieroglyphics previously, and we just shorthanded them and made them really messy, and now there's a fancy way to do that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Anyways, The biggest problem is that the data models are trained on people's existing work, right? So the problem is essentially that it takes those people's work and the process is making, yeah, exactly. So you wouldn't be able to cite them appropriately. Ends up being, the drool emoji and smirk emoji are universal. Okay, the hot emoji, like the warm emoji, is now like sexy, right?
Yeah.
Eyes emoji is also a little flirty, right? And it didn't used to be.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, the concept of Google was utterly insane 25 years ago, norm today. Also, like, the like voice assistants like Siri and Alexa and stuff like that being like a thing. Like, there's an episode of Friends where Pete, the guy that's played by Jean Favreau, is like super rich and he has like a video chat thing and it's like just crazy. It's on a tube television and they're like, wow, this is insane. And now look at us, we're doing this. People, like millions and millions of people are doing video chat, not just to one other person with a fucking phone number, but to a plethora of people, you know? The Purple Devil one too. Remember when Lisa was used in a radio song? Lisa
Radiohead.
Simpson?
Lisa Radiohead?
Yeah. Radiohead, the artist. I know who Radiohead are, but I don't know what Lisa. Most importantly, the clown emoji, sexy as fuck. Whatever the text to speech thing was then. Honestly, I don't know. You might be more tech than I am. Fitter, happy, more productive. Plethora, such an academic word. I think I actually used it incorrectly just now. I think plethora means a large but limited selection of things. And so I was using it to mean a large amount, which I don't think technically, people frequently inappropriately use that word. I think. That's a great track, never knew. Plethora is just an abundant amount. I think it's more specific though. I think there's like people misuse plethora, but it might be a different word that I'm thinking of.
Or you can just search the definition of plethora.
Plethora doesn't mean a lot. The misuse is a pet peeve of mine. Doesn't mean a lot. It means too many or an overabundance, not just an abundance.
Okay, well, I feel like you use it correctly then, an overabundance of things.
Yeah. Well, I didn't do it correctly on purpose. I just stumbled into that, motherfucker. Yeah. Milieu. Milieu? Yeah. I don't know if I'm thinking of milieu. Milieu just means the genre, the mix. The
mélange.
The melange, the matrix. The substrate. I'm getting sciencey now.
The substrate.
The substrate. The concentration gradient. Just kidding. Okay, does anybody have any ideas of things that you want us to talk about next time, or are we just freewheeling and dealing again? Because either is fine with us.
We love a freewheel and deal, but we also love ideas.
Freewheel and deal usually ends up talking about daddies.
I know, we've talked about daddies so much this
Daddy
spring.
sticks and drugs. We talked a little bit about drugs.
Cartoon mommies.
Cartoon mommies.
That, you're talking to two bisexual women. That list would be endless, honestly.
I think we should do it. I think we should come with a couple candidate cartoon mommies. But I don't think mommy has the same, like,
ring to it.
Yeah, because daddy has almost been entirely divorced from the notion of a father.
Father, yeah.
You know? Like, I used to be really uncomfortable saying it. And now I'm like, oh.
I know. I was zaddy.
Yeah.
Zaddy.
Text me, daddy. We need a bit of mommies for so many daddies. Well, maybe the daddies also like daddies. There's a couple daddy-loving daddies in the community. There's a reminder to pack gym clothes. Because you're going to the gym with Ellery tomorrow, yeah?
Alexa runs my life.
I'm playing D&D tomorrow with tech support. And you're going to be at the gym. All right, well, thanks for the ideas. Thanks for the chat. Thanks for the fun time, as usual. I really appreciate you guys participating and chatting. It's always such a fun time. Y'all are so smart, too. I've never heard of mommy in this context. Yeah, I think it's like mother, you know? M-U-V-A. Like, yes, mother. But that's a little bit more like respect.
Yeah, honestly, it's I'm not 100% sure what a mommy is in a sexual context.
Oh, MILF. Listen, people
Yeah.
call me a fucking MILF, and I am not okay with it. So.
What?
Translation MILF?
Yeah, it's gotta be. Okay. Thank you guys so much for joining. We
Yeah.
really appreciate it. This conversation has been
Vulgar as
it's
fuck.
vulgar and inspirational and all the things. So
Yeah, that's
we
true.
appreciate you joining us, and good
Yeah.
night.
Au revoir.